What is up, everyone? Been a long time, been a couple of months, but I see there's some chats going on, so I'm super excited. You all know me. I'm Hybrid Toy Reviews. I'm joined by Vincent. How you doing?
Happy to be here, Hybrid. I'm happy you brought the show back.
Heck yeah. We we took a little hiatus, some life stuff happened, and just needed to basically take a summer break. And definitely excited to get back into the world of talking toys with the boys. There's always toy news going on, and I always catch myself talking to Vincent about the toys. It seems so. Who better? So
Yeah, and you put out some wonderful reviews this week. Pretty
appreciate
nonstop,
it.
which I've been very happy to see. I think you had a streak of 6 videos in a row. One of
Yeah,
them, of course, being Carbonite related. And for those who don't know, I spearhead the Carbonites company. We make figurines that are 1 by 1 by 2 inches tall, and we actually just moved to a plastic core. So we have over 400 characters to choose from. I've been at it for a little while now, and yeah, definitely worth checking out the website. But we're not here to talk just Carbonites. We're talking all things toys today.
we
And
are. We're gonna round back to Carbonites though, because there's been some greatness going on lately. But we have 11 people right off rip, which is super cool. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Let's go ahead and just run through the chat real quick before it gets way too overwhelming. So, of course, first we have the Max Rebo experience. James, how are you doing? And you're correct. It is going to be super fun. So, someone saying it smells like Updog in here. So, bullying right off rip.
off rip,
Cyberbullying is a real crime. So,
you didn't fall for it. I'm actually quite disappointed by that.
right. So, well, my sense of smell never came back after COVID. So, it's just been, I'm just rocking 4 of them here. And you don't get Daredevil abilities. So it
No,
sucks. So, Poptography, hyped for the Carbonites reveal. Aren't we all? I'm shocked
thanks
I
for
talked
stopping
Vincent
by.
into doing one.
Thanks for stopping by, Patrick, and same to you, Delphi. It's great to see you guys.
Yep. We have other James here. Less than 90 seconds. Come on, it's not talking toys with the boys if we start right when we promise. We
All right.
have my mom. Let's get the party started. Galactic Artesian Customs. Who's that Pokemon? Thank you for jumping in.
Somebody
So
got the reference. That's awesome. And Hybrid
yeah,
actually put that graphic together. So
it was one of our weird middle of the night phone calls, and I just thought it would be so funny, because the who's that Pokemon is a silhouette of the Pokemon, and there are so many iconically shaped Pokemon. Almost all of them are iconically shaped,
yeah,
and it's just a cube. It's just a square. It could be anything, and I don't know. It was one of those like sleep deprived kind of moments, but I think it's going to be a good bit. So
agreed.
Delphi's guessing it's a third evolution red dragon. Potentially,
Potentially.
or an electric hamster. So we got 1, 2, 3 customs. This is where the fun begins. Absolutely.
Good to see you.
We have Doug jumping in. What is up, Doug? Glad to see you. So super happy to see Doug checking out this week's Talking Toys with the Boys. And Bad Batch Season 3, maybe? Is there interest in Bad Batch Carbonites? That is a show that hasn't been opened yet for.
I can't say anything and I won't say anything, but I will admit that the Bad Batch Season 3 is probably my single most favorite season of any Star Wars television show ever.
It's solid. It is such a solid season.
It's really good, and tonally, it's just very tight. And I definitely like a lot of things going on in there. Crosshair is certainly a top 5 favorite Disney era Star Wars character. So I always see potential for that sort of thing. But I'll pull back. I won't say much. But
Hey,
I
no,
see your
I
note
can
there.
talk. I can talk Bad Batch all day long. Um, last week I put a video up ranking all of the Ahsoka series figures. This week I'll spoil it. As long as I feel motivated to finish it tonight, it'll be up tomorrow. I'm going to be ranking all the Book of Boba Fett figures because there's only 10 figures. It's a very light video. Bad Batch is on my short list. I wanna talk some Bad Batch coming up. I've been thinking about that show a lot in the last couple of weeks, kind of thinking it's time for a rewatch because I really haven't watched it since the finale last year. And season 3, I've only seen the once too. Like the first 2 seasons, I've seen once or 2 or 3 times. And you know, I love that show. Just what a great show. I love everything about it.
Yeah, that third season, it's kind of hard to bring yourself to watch it because it's certainly darker material. And
Mm.
in season 2, I certainly skip around. I'll just kind of watch certain episodes. But season 1 and season 3, it's hard not to watch them all the way through. I think they're really
Oh yeah, it's a very bingeable show. I you know, one of my most favorite things about the show is you know, I have a sister I'm very close with, and I just love how there's Omega, a girl variation clone trooper, you know, and no one knows about her, but all of a sudden, you know, like the Bad Batch find her, and they're just like, "Oh, you're our sister. You're with us now." Like they latch on. It makes for a very good family unit. And so I do like I do like, you know, the dynamics the show puts everyone in. You know, they're all these special ops troopers, and well, no, you got to be Big Brother now too. You know, it's definitely a fun balance. So,
absolutely.
but Galactic Artesian is saying he loves the Bad Batch, and it would be dope. Vincent getting some tips here. We got Hal Runner Base. What is up? Glad to see you here. Listen to us talk some toys. We got Clan Brandalorian. How are you doing?
Good to see you, Brandon. Thanks for stopping by, man.
So, and then Nick and Addie are here, but their accounts won't let them say hi. Well, hi, Nick and Addie. We hope you're having a great night. So, we, you know, we've definitely hung out, yapped a little bit. I think we just got to open with something super duper recent, my guy.
All right. What's
So,
up?
I want to talk about one of the best cases of Carbonites this week. You did some insane marketing on it. You put some insane work into the Carbonite hunters, and I think we got to talk about them a little bit.
All right. I'll start with this. What is your favorite member of the Carbonite Hunters? Let's start there.
I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be the Green Knight, Boba Fett, the one that represents Boba Fett, the flying Green Knight. I told you, and you've hung on to this in private conversation, and I made a point to bring it up in my review that this Carbonite. I mean, all Carbonites are great, but this Carbonite has so much fine detail. In addition to the normal stylization that Carbonites have, this is like the hot toys of Carbonites. Just with the insane weathering on that helmet. I mean, you did some insane stuff on the Flying Green Knight.
Thank you. It is a toy that has been made many times over the course of many years. And I always felt like with that character in particular, there was always something slightly off in each individual interpretation. Maybe the green is always a little exaggerated, and it's more of like a limeish green or an aqua green. And sometimes that battle damage is truly just cruised right over. So when it came time to making the Flying Green Knight, I knew that it was one of those Carbonites that would get the special treatment of, okay, let's look at as many resources as we can. Let's really do as many little battle damage marks as I could, because it's one of the things that brings such mysticism behind that character and all the battles it looks like he's been through up to that point. And it's really cool to take that Flying Green Knight, put it next to some of the other ones that I've done across other lines. And the detail is night and day, especially when you look at the polished version from TMS2, which I think is 2020. I think that's what I have it labeled as on the website. It's just a big difference. So I'm really glad to see that figure in particular has really kind of popped off, and the reception's been great, because out of all 6 characters, that one also has the most weight put upon it to deliver on. And I'm very glad to hear that you think it's the hot toys of Carbonites.
Yeah, it's just insane. Real quick. I want to say hi to Aaron. How are you doing? He's pumped for these new Carbonites and agrees Boba Fett looks amazing. We got Hyperspace Heroes. How are you guys doing? Hope y'all are having a good night. We're excited to watch your stream tomorrow. And
I'm actually going to interject.
That was a conversation. We didn't want to do it on Thursday. We picked Wednesday just so we could continue to watch y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, so I want to interject real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Going back to Aaron's comment, Aaron started his own company, and we've been having behind the scenes conversations about what that may look like. He came to me with this idea, and while I've given some advice here and there, he truly created something very, very special. And when we talk about recent pickups towards the end of the show, I would love to show on camera kind of a first look at one of his products. They are quite cool. So Aaron, thanks so much for stopping by. And then Brown Squadron, it's always great to see you guys. Yes, we tune in. At least I tune in every week. Hybrid's been joining us too. Fantastic stream. And 3 guys, and they actually were the first ones to ever invite me on for a podcast to talk about Carbonites. So I feel like I have a sort of Han and Chewie life debt with them. And they're just a great group of guys. So definitely check out their stream tomorrow.
Heck yeah. Stoned Mando, how are you doing, my guy? Been a minute since we've talked, but I'm incredibly appreciative that you want to pop in tonight. So I hope you are doing well, my guy. And just hope life has been good. It's been a minute since we've caught up. I gotta be a little better about DM. So, but I gotta say, I mean, there is some greatness in this case, Vincent. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about the number 6 in Star Wars and how there's always, like 6 is like a good number for so many very iconic scenes. And, we always spitball in our conversations, hypothetical, how could you do this episode of this, what 6 do you pick? And so, but is there a more iconic 6 than the 6 bounty hunters?
Not that I can think of. I mean, as a kid, I was always fascinated by those characters. And I think part of it is just the fact that Vader landed on the number 6 of all the different bounty hunters in the galaxy, of all of the different people of high reputations. I always just thought it was a very interesting number they went with. I love getting to see the costumes and kind of the recycled reuse of other costumes. They're just a fascinating bunch. And me personally, when I think of 6 characters, they're typically the first 6 I think of. That and like the Sinister 6 from Spider-Man.
Yeah. Hard to do those in Carbonites, though.
I'd say so. I don't know how I would do Vulture's big wings.
Yeah.
And plus the Sinister 6 is a rotating team. I don't think it's ever the same 6 members every single time. But not with this case.
Right. So Howlrunner here, eagerly awaiting the reveal of the Carbonites gunship. So
this is something that keeps coming up. Howlrunner base has been on a little bit of a generational run with this comment. I would be curious to learn how you think we would be able to do it. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's likely, but I'm always curious to explore new ideas. So you might need to help me with that one, Howlrunner base.
I'll show you something right now. I was going to save it for recent pickups, but is it a pickup if I made it myself? So
let's find out.
This was my my 3D printing project of the week, but
there it is.
I modeled, sliced, and printed a shelf for Carbonites, and it is, I haven't even put Carbonites in it yet, but if my calculations are correct, I should be able to put 2 cases, 12 Carbonites wide, in these 6 rows here. And so I wonder if instead of a dedicated, like, play gunship, if it would be possible to do something that was like a 2-dimensional silhouette of a gunship that then had a troop carrying bay, that you could put like, 6 Carbonites in. And as a display, kind of like this new Lego $1,000 Death Star that's coming out. How it's supposed to be like a flat diorama type thing. So
that's a very good way of putting it. And that display shelf, dude, is insane. I mean, for those who don't know, the way we got to these plastic cores was through Hybrid. He taught me a lot about 3D printing, and he's just a very talented individual on top of his toy reviews. And just to see that shelf and the vision that you had behind it, I got to give you props, man. That's remarkable. And I can't wait to see what they all look like lined up in there. So
well,
cool.
we're gonna test fit right now. So
okay,
because I have yet to put any in, but
I heard the click. It sounded so perfect.
So I wanted there to be tolerance, So a Carbonite is 1 by 1 by 2, and I made them 12 1/4 inches wide. That way you have that 1/4 inch of room on either side to just fit them in and not be like cramming them in, because you got to think also the cores are going to be 1 by 1 by 2, but you add that little layer of paper on all sides, your decal. So, you're really like 1.01, by 1.01. There's a little flex in there. And so I just wanted to have some tolerance where they aren't super tightly packed. And
we're 3 strong. They look great. So now we're 6 strong. Look at that.
So I will load it up after the stream and get a photo on Instagram, and maybe I'll share it to the YouTube, post page and community tab. But in theory, you can put 12 cases on this shelf, and I need to mess a little bit with the file because every time that I put it in Cura to slice it, it wants to blow it up to like 500%, and and your computer like crashes, and I need to figure out why it's doing that and then fix that so that it doesn't do that anymore. And once I get it to where it's not doing that, where it's just a safe and secure file that you can just put on there and click print and not have to adjust it, it is a file I would like to put out there for free. So I think I'll end up putting it on Thingiverse. If anyone would like to print it, I'll warn you, I printed it with 5% infill on my Elegoo Neptune 3 Max. It's a big print bed. It's like 16 by 16, and no, it's like 13 by 13 inches, and it took 3 days. So it's going to take you a little bit. But if you have a printer capable of printing something so large, I would like to put it out there for free. And maybe I'll play a little bit and make some smaller versions that might be a little more friendly to a smaller, maybe 6 cases, stacked.
That would be super cool because, the cool thing about 3D printing is I know you can scale things somewhat easily. And, there could be a version that would fit on a smaller print bed that would be, 6 across opposed to 12 across.
Mm-hmm.
So all things you've already thought of because you're very clever. And I was going to say on stream, because we've only really talked about it behind the scenes, that if this was something you decided to sell, you put hard work into it, and that needs to be applauded. So it would be, obviously use it at your discretion. If you want to make it free, cool. If you want to, put a price on it too, that's okay as well. I think it's some great work you created. I'm very excited to print one myself or buy one from you.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's something where like I don't want to sell it because it takes 3 days to print, and that means that I got to start building inventory. And like, man, if I ran my printer nonstop for a month, I'm going to have like 10, and so the a smaller scale, of course, would make it, a little more doable, making it to where maybe you can do like 4 cases, but then you could put that on like a common Ender 3 printer or something, and then, it would be doable there. But we've ignored the chat here a little bit, but Howlrunner came in with a whoa when I showed that, so it makes me feel good. Carbonite shelf would be crazy. Thank you, Arthur. And Aaron, the Carbonites shelf is sick. That's the perfect display piece for set collections. That was my thought. While Carbonites are very stackable, having something to put them in, I feel makes them more displayable in the long term. Walking around the figure room, all the shells wobble a little bit because I'm a little bit big backed. It's just what happens. So it definitely, for my particular display, will work better. The box they come in folds into the gunship, and that would be the way to do it.
Okay, we gotta
thinking in 4
gotta
dimensions.
get crafty. I like it.
But yeah, 3D printing is insane, Aaron. I really, it was something where one of those stimulus checks came out during COVID, and it was just something that you will always see like speed prints on YouTube and stuff. And I just remember, the Ender 3 version 2, whatever, a really budget printer that doesn't have any features. It was like $140 on Amazon. And I was like, whatever, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to do this. It was like right when Landspeeder Luke was really starting to post a lot of diorama stuff. And it ultimately wasn't the right printer to really be doing some of that stuff. But some of it I printed and it turned out all right. And it was a really good entry printer. And I'm glad that I have my bigger one now. And it's definitely led to a lot of opportunities like Carbonite cores.
I'm glad that it did.
But how much do you think you might charge for a shelf similar to that? Well, the thing really is you can get a roll of filament for about $20, and it takes about a half roll to print at that 5%. And so it's like $10 of material, but it ties up my printer for 3 days, and there's a lot of times where I just get online and just, there's a file. Oh, that'd be cool. I'd like to go put that on the printer. And then it just doesn't, I can't because I have a 3-day print going on. So it's like, reasonable. It might be something if I had a couple friends that wanted, one, I could probably tie up the printer for a couple weeks doing a few. But yeah, I think I'm ultimately just going to post it. And then, if someone has a printer, and Stoned, if you want to get into 3D printing, we can have some conversations. I've got a few people on the bug at this point.
I'd say so. And you could always sell the file digitally, like a digital download. I know people do that, but you're a man of the people. And that's it's a testament to your kindness that you took the time in your free time to help me out with these. And then to even want to upload it for free. I think that says a lot about you, man.
Right. So, Stuck in Carbonite, Evan, how are you doing? Don't have a 3D printer, but making a vehicle-themed shelf sounds dope fire. Has anyone seen on... I'm going to see if I can't pull it up on Instagram, but I'm thinking it was Landspeeder Luke that made it because, of course, Landspeeder Luke made it. Landspeeder Luke makes everything. He had made a shelf where... I forget if it was wall mountable but it was like half of a gunship, and it was just kind of like, it was like a mock-up thing. It was like, it kind of looks like you're putting some guys in the gunship, but it's not a full-blown gunship because a 1/12 gunship, kind of just gets crazy. But I'm scrolling on Instagram and I'm not seeing it, and I'm pretty far down. So maybe it wasn't Luke that made it. But, here's a similar idea. Let me see. They've updated StreamYard since I was last here. So let me do share screen to Instagram. But similar type of idea way back. He did like the top of an ATST that you could put like Chewbacca or anyone in, It's like, it's just the idea of.
Yeah.
And, so it's like you don't have to full blown, have a vehicle at that point. Just the idea of a vehicle.
But, yeah, something that kind of like simulates the idea. Something really cool. It was, let's see, Hyperdrive Collections. He had done like a little short. I think it was about 45 seconds, and it was like a little short film, if you will. And he loaded up his Holding the Line set. And so 2 Republic troopers, 2 samurai. He put them in the gunship it was like a 3.75 scale, and he acted like he had it like land, and then they deployed out of it. It was pretty cool. So maybe the move is using some pre-existing 3.75s and going that realm, because if it's fit for a 3.75, Carbonites themselves are 2 inches tall. So naturally, these could fit anywhere a 3.75 inch figure could fit.
Right. Well, I guess if we're going to be talking about 375 gunships,
Well, what a transition.
right? Guess we're lined up. But it's topical. It's going on this week. I don't have skin in the game. But how could we not talk about the HasLab gunship? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not counting on this thing failing, but Letdown made a great clickbait title. So yeah, we had to go with Letdown on this. But I don't know. 5 days, 3 hours remaining, has 4,373 backers, meaning in the last day it's gained about 70. Needs about 3,600 more just to happen without any tears.
Yeah. I'm like you. I also do not have skin in the game when it comes to this gunship. However, like you, I don't want to see this gunship fail, and I'm really not here to speculate if it is or if it isn't. I want it to be made. I'm a fan of cool shit, and I know cool shit when I see it, and that's this gunship.
Yeah.
And, I think it has a lot of great ideas going for it. But how about you? What's up, Starscreamo 625? Good evening to you as well. But I don't know. How do you feel about the gunship? What's kind of your biggest hangups with it? Where are you at, and why is this not something that you felt the need to back?
Well, 375 is trash. No, but Howl Runner here, actually the Cantina did over 8K in the final days. It's possible. But was it funded before the final days and then it just got the tiers in the final days? Or was it not funded and then it happened at the end? Because the fact that we're so close and it's just barely over halfway there is kind of, were it something I want, I would be getting worried at this point. I remember the earlier HasLabs, the Razor Crest and the Sail Barge, not so much. I kind of remember hearing about HasLab kind of like after that kind of happened. I feel a lot of people missed out on it. That, if they'd done some other HasLabs and then done a Sail Barge now, there might be more barges out there. But I don't know. I think that there is a large amount of people out there that are prequel fans. It is no longer, the bad trilogy. Once upon a time, it might not have been the wisest move, but the prequel kids have grown up. We have grown up money. We want to throw grown up money at stuff like this. And I think I just have some thoughts on some of the marketing. Everything that I've seen online about this hasn't really been posted by Hasbro Pulse. It's been posted by Mr. Stevie, who, Steve Evans is like one of the Star Wars team's greats. So, I mean, he's always plugging and making his own graphics whenever they make a new figure. He makes his own posts with like really cool backgrounds with the promo photos of the figures. And, he's really, really pushing stuff. He took the prototype gunship to a comic shop in New Jersey this last weekend just to let people in New Jersey play with it and get a feel for it, and I mean, like, that's cool. Like, that's how you market something like this. They took it to a Fan Expo Canada, which, while totally the wrong country, I mean, Fan Expo is a cool convention that's not like your New York or your San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, we have a Fan Expo in Cleveland. If Fan Expo Cleveland had been happening in the last month, it probably would have been there, I mean, he was just looking for any opportunity he could. And so I guess some of my general thoughts, they really like harping on this 20% bigger thing than the prior gunships. And yeah, definitely it's bigger. There's some good photos of it being held side by side at different conventions. But does 20% bigger make it true to scale for 375, or does it just make it bigger than what we've had before? Um,
Yeah.
you and I have talked about that because I mean, like, you get some good photos of some figures, like in the troop carrying bay, and so like it generally looks a lot better than prior ones. If it's under scale, it's only slightly. And prior figures, their helmet would have been hidden by the side walls and stuff. But I just, I don't know. I mean, like, I think that there are some. I don't know. I don't know that it's big enough for me to really like the price on it. I think that was a big thing too for me. Is there always seems to be. I have a pretty good guess with Hasbro products. When a product gets revealed, I can usually. I mean, everyone wants stuff to be dirt cheap and given away, but I can usually say, hey, that set I think is going to go for $100, and usually I'm right on. And every time we get one of these HasLabs, I always seem to be guessing about $100 under what they're actually charging.
You
And
you were bang on the money when you guessed the price of the Mustafar set.
yeah, I was like, dang, there's two figures there. That's $50. There's $50 of accessories and a $10 special box fee.
Hey, hold up a second. You see this super chat?
Yeah, 21200 in the chat. How are you doing, my guy? Back the LAAT. And ultimately, I think that if you do want a 375 gunship, this is the way to go. I just I don't know. I mean, I definitely understand why it hasn't hit that 8,000 yet, and definitely just a thought. It Another thought. I'd mentioned this talking to you yesterday, is them saying, like, people are always saying, the HasLabs need to be that dream project that couldn't be done otherwise.
Right.
And does that mean that Star Wars toys are now at a point that we just can't have a play scale gunship? Because we grew up in that era where you could go to Toys R Us or whatever, and there's gunships and turbo tanks and Y-wings and all that on the shelf right next to each other. And a new ship shows up in the Clone Wars, and a month later you're finding it, for $30 on the shelf at Walmart. And like, could they just not make a vintage collection gunship anymore without it being a HasLab? Because that's kind of feels like the end of an era. That's kind of sad too.
Part of me wonders, like, there's talk in the Lego community, which I like to float in and out of,
Mhm.
but you know how they do those like collectible minifigure blind bags by
Yeah.
chance? Okay, they call them CMFs. And with the CMFs, I know for a fact there's just been this like rumor that there'll never be Star Wars CMFs because it takes away from Hasbro's sales of their Black Series and their vintage collection. And that would be the cheapest way to get a figure at that point in time. And hey, what's up, Shelf Life?
How you doing,
Again,
Shelf
it's
Life?
great to see everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by a stream. It's just wonderful seeing all these faces in chat. But yeah, I wonder if part of this is that now that Lego Star Wars is just so big, if they've really taken over as the ship or tank or speeder people, because you just really don't see it. And we've heard also that, well, it's a shelf space issue, that these big box stores don't want to carry big boxes. They want to try
Yeah.
to see how much stuff they can fit on the pegs as humanly possible. But that very much was the magic of going to Toys R Us or Target or Walmart. It wasn't just the Clone Wars figures that give you the sense of nostalgia. It was seeing the Vulture droids. It was seeing the gunships. I'm a Cad Bane guy, so I always thought seeing that Xandu blood, which is just a repainted Magna Guard starfighter. It's so niche, but we would never get a Xandu blood because it is too niche. So
Yeah.
now it feels like it's something that's weaponized against Star Wars fans, opposed to making something because it was from that tie-in media.
Right. Because like I think, I mean, you're right with shelf space, being if you make a vintage collection LAAT, you got to convince Target to put it on the shelf.
Yes.
And there's kind of like that fun middle ground that things like Fan Channel allow, where it's like you don't have to convince a retailer as long as they got a warehouse space to put a pallet of them,
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I think you're right on. And actually, interesting, you mentioned the Lego, the minifigure thing. What it is Lucasfilm has a contract with Hasbro, where Hasbro is just the only company allowed to do action figures,
Right.
and minifigures are just nearly an action figure, so they're not allowed to sell them on their own.
Right.
Same as why the Funko Pops, even though a standard Funko Pop has no articulation other than a head swivel, the Star Wars ones and Marvel have to be a bobblehead.
Yeah.
That's why they have to have the springs. And also, because I see Howrunner talking about Micro Galaxy Squadron, which I think you're right on.
Yes.
I'll talk about that. But if you want to go get some clones to fill some of your MGS gunships, you have to buy them in blind boxes with a speeder.
Yep.
Because they're not allowed to sell, even though it's a 1-inch tall 2 POA clone. It's because of that Hasbro exclusivity contract.
Absolutely. I think that's why we don't see these projects on the store shelves anymore. And I think that kind of dings the magic of it all, because you do lose the immersion with the action figures. Yes, Hasbro's becoming much more of like an adult, centered company with their collectibles, but it does take away from the magic that you can buy armies and armies of clones, but the likelihood of you getting a vehicle to go alongside it's this instance where the only way to get one is by, crossing your fingers and voting with your dollar, hoping everybody else does the same. And yeah, it's fascinating. I wish they would have more vehicles like the G.I. Joe classified line has.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would go that route where you get the occasional BARC speeder plus one clone.
Right.
Smaller vehicles, but still vehicles that make it feel swooshable, with your figures.
A couple new people just have been popping up in chat. But we got Jennifer. How you doing? Jimmy is not allowed to get that, and I understand. It is a space hog.
She put it in writing, so it's official now.
Right. My friend Mark. How you doing? And then we got SWC Doodles. How are you doing? I hope you are having a great night. We have 27 people in chat, or in just viewing, and a lot of them are in chat too. That is awesome. Hasbro has managed to get larger items like the classified Stinger on shelves and some larger Transformers figs, but the prices are lower because there's no license. That is correct too. People forget that licensing fee on a lot of things. I see a lot of people, say, man, Black Series and G.I. Joe Classified are the same price. Why does G.I. Joe Classified get 5 accessories and alternate hands? And like I made that Topical Tuesday rant about the Anakin and Obi-Wan last week. Like Black Series doesn't come with that stuff. It hasn't come with that stuff. And while it's the same price, you have to assume that behind the scenes Hasbro isn't making the same profit because they're probably giving half the money to Disney, So Hunter is a madman. He is in on 3 of these. So I hope it funds. By the way, I know I'm sounding a little bit critical of the gunship. I hope it funds.
Yeah.
Because I mean there's a lot of really cool stuff going on here. I just it's definitely there's definitely some fear, I mean, I remember Hunter, you're the expert. I'm going to call you the expert on this because you own it. You have the Razor Crest. Didn't that fund in like the first like 2 days, at least to the base, and then the tiers maybe took a little bit, but wasn't the Razor Crest like a lock, like really, really early? So we got Bolts. How are you doing? Back the LAAT. So I Again, I know I said Letdown in the title. I'm being clickbaity, so I'll confess. I apologize, and it was Vincent's idea.
What?
So you came up
You're
with
gonna pin this on
Letdown.
me? No
I was
way,
thinking
dude.
of like gunship, like what's gunship, and you're like Letdown. And I was like, yep.
Dude, Hunter's back 3. He's gonna come for me now. Now they knows who's
Right.
mom. Yeah.
He's gonna come at you with the Republic fleet, all
Yes.
3 of them. Information. It funded right away, and then it hit all the tiers in like days. And
Crazy.
funded in the first 24 hours. And so, and with that, it's like, and I totally get it. That was like during season 2. That was like peak Mandalorian fever. Like
Indeed.
it was like we just got live action Ahsoka. There was rumors of something really cool happening in that upcoming finale. Like
Yeah.
that was a great time to do a Razor Crest HasLab. It was during the season, but I mean, us cloners are always out here, and
Right.
it's just I'm just shocked that it just didn't instantly happen like HasLab happened before. The 8,000 backers is not an insane amount of backers.
Well, that's the thing. So, like Hunter, just to take what he had said, he had gotten 3, and I know it's not to one to open, one to keep sealed, one to sell. I know it's because you can put the different nose art on there. You could load it up with different Jedi, different clone legions. This is, at least for Star Wars, this is the first like truly massable HasLab project where you could get many, you could army builds. Some people will buy 2 gunships just to get the 2 figures to then put in the cockpits. And then they'll buy a second gunship just to leave one then carded, since it only comes with 2 pilots. I mean, there's so many reasons and incentives actually to order more than one. And I think like that's not crazy. That's actually reasonable because we all know how many clones we all have. So to put them on a gunship is pretty legit. I too want this thing to back. Hashtag back the LAAT, back that LAAT up. It's incredible seeing the fans rally behind this project. I keep seeing these viral LAAT hats thanks to Commander Bly and Blitz Transmissions.
Yeah,
and
those are cool. I saw the photos.
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get to the HasLab LAATs, but I think I want one of those hats. Those things are awesome. So I think the hype around the fans is something that is so incredible and so inherently Star Wars. And it would be sad if this doesn't fun, because I'm a prequel kid. And when I look at this, it really does hit me in a very nostalgic place. But I don't think, marketing it on the fact that it's 20% bigger sounds exciting. I wish it was more marketed on this is to scale. And we can talk about whether it is or if it isn't. But just because it's 20% bigger doesn't mean that it's better. It's like moving to a house that's 20% bigger than the current house I'm in. That sounds great, but it depends on if it's priced fairly and depends on if I like the floor layout. 20% does not guarantee that it is better, but marketing it as being the first LAAT to be to scale would.
Right. No, and I mean you're dead on with the house comparison, or just 20% bigger in general. It's like it's just a weird like marketing line. Like just say it's to scale, like yes, it's bigger, and absolutely put a picture of it next to all the other ones and be like, hey, it's bigger, it's to scale, but it's just I just see the hang up on the 20% bigger, and I'm like, I think there's just more going on than 20% bigger. I also think that's what she said. Yeah, we walked into that one. But Howrunner pointed out, the Razor Crest funded in the first 24 hours. They didn't even have all the tiers ready. They had to keep adding them. I remember that. They kept just throwing in, you want a Jawa on the card? Like, they were doing whatever.
Yeah.
You're not beating the allegations, Hunter.
No, sir.
Galactic Artesian Customs wants to play with it. Why isn't anyone talking about playing with it? So,
well, I don't know if he's being humorous or not, but the play with this thing is legit. It has everything I could want, except for like a ATRT hopping out the back. But that's something for another day, and that's not every gunship as well. So the playability here is it's actually quite peak. There's not much else I would want from this. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it covers all the bases that you could reasonably ask for from a gunship. Every door that opens in universe could open. They have gone above and beyond and made every missile removable. And even then, I look at that and I'm like, I mean, like, it's cool, but also, like, why? Like, I feel like those are going to get, like, hella lost, not going to lie. But, you know, I mean, like, cool. Like, I mean, I guess. I like that they did the 2 options for the stands, where this little one here is meant to simulate, well, so the bigger one is like an angled, like, in-flight stand, but the other one is meant to simulate the hover, you know, where it's, you know, there, like,
Yeah.
just off the ground, you know, the troopers can hop in and out, you know, it's probably keeping it, I don't know, maybe an inch off the shelf or wherever you put it.
It's so cool. And that truly was a genius idea. Out of all of the things this comes with, that's by far my favorite.
Mm. And better, I will also credit too, as Hunter knows, all the original gunships didn't come with the ball turrets.
Crazy.
You had to buy them like in a battle pack as an additional thing, which has now become expensive also. I know that was a thing where Hunter was trying to collect a couple of them and then get the ball turrets for them, and like he was spending like just as much on the ball turrets as the gunship. So you know, that was insanity too. But Droid Bait says the problem is I don't have 20% more shelf space. Yeah. I think Stoned Mando, I think you're probably right on. Like any other HasLab, you know, you always do get that little last minute push.
Right.
You know, obviously no, but I think it's the price turning people away. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm always a little bit of a math guy there, and I think back on how a gunship used to be $120 toy, you know, 15 years ago, and now it's like 3 times that, and it's only 20% more. But you have inflation there, but inflation in the last 10 years isn't 300%. But this is arguably better, you know. There's a lot more detail going on here, and Doug, I think you are right. He said one did come with the 2 ball turrets, and he's pretty sure it was the vintage collection. Yeah, like that vintage collection, like 2011 or 12 one. You know, like, yeah, I think you're right there.
Now, this is a kind of an odd hypothetical, but let's say that this year it wasn't the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Let's say this year was the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. Let's say that Attack of the Clones airs in the theater, just like Revenge of the Sith did, and then a month later, instead of getting images of the, you know, San Diego Comic-Con Mustafar set, which kind of celebrates the anniversary. Let's say we go to the theater, we see Attack of the Clones, we get the popcorn bucket, we come home to images of this. Do you think it would have funded by now? Do you think this is a timing situation?
I definitely think that would add more hype, as opposed to Hasbro's Attack of the Clone 20th anniversary strategy, which was just to ignore it. But that was a time too. People were like asking, like, "Where's our like Attack of the Clones figures?" And Hasbro's like, "We're not doing that."
Which you and I have talked off camera about. This is also come December, the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens. And
yeah,
it'll be very curious to see if Hasbro is going to touch that at the 10-foot pole, or if there's actually going to be some celebration around it.
So Howlrunner, next year's Battle of Geonosis theme is set to support this HasLab. It's the most support build around any HasLab to date. It does look like they have some insane ideas there. That sketch poster, you know, where they want you to army build all the clones around it landed on the shelf. Luke Ness Monster made a fun video like a week ago about what happens to the Battle of Geonosis theme if the gunship doesn't fund. Because everything that's set to come out for that is in production. You know, stuff gets made a year before it hits shelves. So they're already making a ton of Attack of the Clones vintage collection stuff. Next year is going to be the Attack of the Clones year for 375 vintage collection collectors. And like, what happens when they're just marketing, you know, you could have put this next to your gunship if you backed it. Like, but
yeah,
no one has.
Always going to remind you of the gunship that could have been, you know?
Yeah.
Which I hope that's not the case. I hope it's the gunship that did become, because it looks,
I hope
great.
I hope it happens. You know, my collection room getting a little full. I got a Ghost that I still got to figure out what I'm gonna like do for the true final display on that. And it's something where for the space I have, I almost have to choose. Like, do I have a Ghost or do I get a gunship? And the Ghost is here. The Ghost will stay. I'm the Star Wars Rebels and like #1 fan. So you know, I liked Rebels before it was cool. Before y'all realized Ahsoka was in it. You know, I was there day of. But you know, I think it's really cool, and I hope it happens. And it's definitely scary as an outsider. You know, again, I got no skin in it, but it's just scary knowing that in 35 days they could only get 50% of the backing, and just to make it happen, you know.
Yeah.
And can you quit flirting with my mom? So
Hey, man. Hey.
Mom saw Return of the Jedi when it was in theaters, brand new. So how old do you think I feel? Well, what, the movie just had its 40th anniversary, so pretty, I don't know. Yeah, pretty old.
Hey, I saw the Cleveland Fan Expo video. She looks great, man. She looks great.
Quit hitting on my mom. So,
All right, I'm done.
we got Tarek, next year's HasLab, the Millennium Falcon, but 50% bigger, right?
There we go. Now we're talking. Oh, dude.
Display the Ghost at my house. How about no? So, yeah, can't believe the Force Awakens is going to be 10 years old. That is insanity. I can't believe that we're not getting anything for Force Awakens. Like, I know the sequels aren't as popular. I totally accept that. But I really figured we were going to get that Rogue One treatment where you just got like one fan channel wave. Just even some of those Force Awakens figures with a photoreal refresh, you know, because we need Oscar Isaac deserves better from Hasbro.
Dude, his figures sucked, and I say that as kindly as I can. Like
99% of the issue is the head.
Yes, that is the issue. And I know Delphi Rangers in chat. He's a big pilot guy. I imagine he has that figure too. Perhaps he can weigh in. The face was atrocious, and I did like though that they did a really good attempt making the aliens, the Constable Zuvios, the Guavian Death Gang. They did try, and I really do appreciate that with that line. My question to you is, besides Photo Real, are there a few figures that stand out to you as the best from the Force Awakens offering that you would be okay, comfortable, kind of like what they just did with that Krennic figure, where it's a pretty clear re-release just in a new Black Series mural?
You know, I would be okay if they straight reran Force Awakens Finn with a photo reel. I think that it was one of the you know, 2015 was a bad time for figures in general. And while he doesn't have the butterfly joints and the ball joint wrists, you know, I think you just slap a photo reel on it. The articulation is okay enough for what poses you need to get Finn in. Same with the pilot Poe Dameron. I think that objectively the pilot body is okay for that era. It's just the face, and I just wanted to. I thought it'd be funny. There's a very classic Iron Man comic book where the whole point of that era was Tony Stark was struggling to do his Iron Man duties because of alcoholism.
What is this?
This is the Poe Dameron likeness that figure has. It is just terrible.
Dude. I can totally see it. You're right.
Right. Classic cover.
Perfect comparison.
But yeah, no, I think without modification, they could easily just photoreal Finn and Poe. I think that Force Awakens Rey is trash. I think that they could possibly salvage they could retool a couple of things and tweak a Rise of Skywalker Rey into a Force Awakens Rey. I feel the costume is similar enough, you know, that they could do that. I think Force Awakens Kylo Ren is okay as he stands. It'd be nice to finally get a photoreal Adam Driver again. Has been let down by Hasbro in 1/12 scale. It'd be cool to get photo. We got that archive Old Man Han Solo, and we never got the archive Luke and Leia, to match. So we just have like those like painted dead eyes instead of the printed. Like, there's some stuff you could do for Force Awakens.
Absolutely. Which, we're talking about likeness and everything. We also have, I know we talked about mentioning this, the Mustafar dual set, and that likeness on both of those is nuts.
Yeah, let's bounce over there. I'm gonna click over to. Let me click on the right tab.
And correct me if I'm wrong. This is one that you weren't able to get your hands on.
Yes, I haven't gotten my grubby mitts on this yet, but I'm not as dejected as so many people are. There are people out there that feel that Hasbro has wronged them on a personal level for not just locking the order in on their behalf. This sold out insanely fast. It is a beautiful set. The gimmick with your convention exclusive packs is what's left over from the convention goes up at noon or whatever. For the first hour, you have to have that Pulse Premium to buy it. And then after that first hour, it becomes available for everyone else. And like Stone Mando is pointing out, it was up for less than 4 minutes on the Pulse Premium hour. But usually the way that they handle these is they only put like half or 3/4, whatever, the allotment up for that premium. Usually they hang on to a couple for that, that us common, peasant hour. And they just sold out during the premium hour and it just never hit.
Right.
So I think that they didn't have as many left over after the convention as they typically would. And I think that while that sucks that we can't get it right now. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. My cats are doing violence. Like they're like killing each other in the hall. But that's okay.
That's all right.
That's just how you handle your problems. They this would be like the first Comic-Con pack in like 10 years that didn't get a rerun. Like, just because it's out of stock right now doesn't mean in November they're not going to get another shipment in, I mean, people don't like to remember that portion. Actually, it sounds like Ood's the one losing. So, but that a Star Killer set that came with the 2 Stormtroopers and the swappable lightsaber blades and the lightsaber hands and the alt heads, same idea as this. It came back in stock like 5 times, like they're gonna make more of this. The fact that it sold out in 4 minutes tells Hasbro that this is a moneymaker.
Right.
And there's some great stuff here. I mean, nothing I can say that hasn't been said a ton of times before. But, I mean, some great figures with some great likenesses and alt heads, swappable hands, which you never see in the line, but really, really cool, to get the Mustafar platform, the mining droid, the lava effects. I mean, there's some insane cool stuff going on in here. And I remember during the live stream when these got announced, it just kept going on and on and on. And I'm just like, and like, they're like, hey, like, here's that new Anakin and Obi-Wan that you want. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, and it comes with alt heads and hands. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, and it comes with a platform. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And it comes with a lava base. And I'm like, what? And then they're like, and it comes with a droid. And I'm like, what? Like, they kept anding it,
Yeah. It almost felt like a HasLab of itself with all of the tiers already unlocked.
Right. and it just kept going,
Yeah, yeah, dude.
And then I remember they like showed everything, and they're like, and it comes with a clash thing for the lightsaber blades, and I'm like, I don't care. Like it's like you've anded the big things already, but I definitely want this, and I will catch it on a restock. Howrunner said, at least they timed the mainline releases relatively close. That'll save some people. And someone was already selling the Dark Side Anakin head on eBay for $70, which I believe it. I've seen people that are like keeping the figures and they're selling the diorama stuff for like $100 on eBay. Actually, not like do that and buy the single release figures if you don't care about the alt heads and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
maybe.
Now, Hybrid, I know you like to open your toys, and I know that you review collectibles, so it's kind of inherent that you would open it up and show it to
Oh, yeah.
others. But to my understanding, with this box set, the way that they have the plastic inserts, it's like they already recreated the fights in the
Yep.
thank you, in the poses you would pretty much already want them to be. On a scale of 1 to 10, how tempted would you be to open this?
I would absolutely open it. So my thoughts, I have talked a lot about Black Series before, how not only am I just a Star Wars fan that likes 1/12 figures, I'm also just generally a fan of the Black Series and what they do with it. I'm not one of those people that's constantly comparing it to Hot Toys and imports. And, there are people that say they like the Black Series and then do nothing but gripe about everything about it. And
Yeah.
so I want to start picking up duplicates of all these convention things just to keep in the box, because this has some nice shelf presence as it comes. But I will say, when you have pre-posed figures in the box, it's cool they put them in a battle pose, but I just know I could put them in a more dynamic battle pose on the shelf. So when this comes back in stock, I'll be grabbing 2. But I definitely need like an openable set here. But I want to throw some logic out here. So Howrunner says that Darkside Anakin head is $70 on eBay. And I believe it, but you got to think like Hasbro. People are getting hung up on what if they reissue these figures with soft goods robes, and that might be something Hasbro's thinking about, as a third reissue. But think about your alternate, your variations here. They just made head to toe new sculpts on these characters. They didn't reuse 2013 legs. They didn't just throw an archive Obi-Wan in from 2013 and give us a good Anakin. We 100% are going to get that Darkside Anakin head with a red saber blade in the Ahsoka packaging as a flashback Anakin. They're just going to do it,
Yeah.
That's where you're going to get that head. The Obi-Wan, maybe that swappable battle head stays exclusive. I don't know where they could put it. But I mean, like, if that's the only thing that you can't get out of this set other than the bases, which kind of is then what makes the set, like, what are you really missing? Like, everything will be out there eventually. The single pack Anakin and Obi-Wan just aren't offensive to me in any way. Like, if you want to save $60 on the figures and cut some stuff that you don't care about, yeah, that's how you should do it.
Yeah, and then in terms of this set, do you think kind of like with the gunship, this is something they're going to build off of with like the Revenge of the Sith, mural? I think obviously it's Anakin and Obi-Wan. Any speculation as to who we get after that? Like, do you think we would get a Padme from this scene to kind of help recreate, or do you think they're going to pump the brakes on Revenge of the Sith after that, the Gale and the regular Anakin and Obi-Wan, because it has been very heavy this year, and that Mace and Sidious too, that 2-pack.
Yeah. Yeah, the Mason Sidious, those are going to be our New York Comic Con exclusives. That Mace absolutely is going to stay exclusive to that set. Like whatever, he's going to have like a grimacing battle face. The other thing about these sets too is if every single thing in them comes out in the main line later on anyway, what's exclusive about it? It needs to it's not cool if everything comes out. This remains a cool item if there's something in here that you can only get here.
Right.
And so with that said, I definitely see this as being like the cherry on top, like final, like big Revenge of the Sith thing. This and the Mace Windu and the Emperor set. I definitely think they're gonna not completely cut it off, but I definitely think the Revenge of the Sith anniversary is definitely starting to wrap here. But I mean, what a centerpiece to that anniversary. I know people weren't super in love with the retro card figures. Not that there was anything wrong with the retro cards, but just the everyone was like, you're doing Jedi Council members and like 2 clone troopers, like what's going on here, and R2D2. But like, I think they were all cool. I went for that. So
speaking of that clone trooper, we got to plug that you're doing a giveaway for that tactical ops at 2.5.
Yeah, crap. I should have brought him in the room. I should have.
Yeah.
Dang it. I totally blanked on that. But let me go grab that. You talk to chat.
All right. Hey, what is up, chat? Well, this is a first. I don't really do live streaming, so this is interesting for me here. Just you and me. But I know something else Hybrid and I were going to talk about is the Clones of the Republic line that, it was originally like a Disney store exclusive. Maybe they still are. I don't know how you guys feel about the new Anakin and Rex. It's a strange line, given that it's a Phase 2 Rex, but it's a very much a Season 1 through 3 Clone Wars Anakin. And I feel like those just don't look good next to each other. Same with the Obi-Wan in his Clone Wars, Seasons 1 through 3 outfit. And then he also has a Phase 2 trooper with him. So I don't really know what's going on with that line. Maybe we could talk about that in a little bit. But Hybrid, take it away.
All right. So super quick. I'm going to quit sharing this and I'm going to make me big. So I've been plugging in the majority of my most recent reviews, but for everyone watching, if you're not subscribed, I highly recommend you do, because when we hit 2,500 subscribers, I am giving away this 501st Clone Trooper, Tactical Ops Trooper, as they were called back in the day when this card back style was relevant. So 2,500 subscribers. When we hit it, I'm going to put up a video just saying, hey, comment on this video, and I'll do a random comment, picker for that video. So if you would like to add to your clone army one of these excellent retro cards, I will say the card is not perfect. It's definitely a good opener, though, but it's free, so don't complain about it. So I am definitely excited to build someone's clone army with this one. And yeah, I meant to bring that in. So thank you for reminding me on that.
Yeah, man. It's a really awesome milestone that you're approaching. And of all the things you could give away, it's awesome to see a giveaway of a trooper, because in the case somebody already does have it who wins, that's the perfect thing to get a second of.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, and I guess while we're talking giveaways, this might be the time.
Go for it.
I had talked to you a little bit ago about this. I want to spread some love here, just on this particular stream, for Carbonites. This week we have an excellent new set out with the Carbonite Hunters, and there's a whole website full of amazing sites here. So I want to do something for the chat right here, whoever's right here in chat. If anyone is interested, just voice, say, I'm in. We're going to do a Wheel of Death. We're going to do it, let's say, in about 10 minutes. We'll let a couple people say I'm in. We'll make sure that everyone is on the wheel that should be on the wheel. We'll just do one spin, whoever it lands on. US based only, please. That's just the way that the shipping works best right now. Whoever wins can hit me up with their information, and I will pick you up a case of Carbonites of your choice from the website. So you go pick a case. So let's do Howrunner, Runner, Doug, Adelphi. So
yeah, good luck to everybody. And we have 74 cases to choose from. So it doesn't just have to be the Carbonite Hunters, the newest set. Realistically, it could be whatever set that you see on that website. So it's a really nice thing Hybrid wants to do here. He came to me with this idea, And of course, I was all for it. So I hope you win, and I hope you love your Carbonites.
Bolts, come on, you want in on this. So if you're US based, if that's why, but we got all right, so I got Howlrunner in, I got Droid Dennis, Doug, Adelphi, my mom. So yeah, Howlrunner, Doug, Adelphi, mom, Dennis.
And Kate, if you end up winning, I want you to pick out a case that you want, not the case Hybrid wants.
Yes, that is for your shelf, my mom. So so yeah, anyone that wants in, go ahead and say that you want in. Stone Mando, you don't want in? So I didn't see an I'm in, but I got you. If you want in, say you want in.
The way I see it, if somebody comments, I think that'll just count as a I'm in.
We want to put them in if there's a comment, so we'll just put Bolts and Stoned.
Let's put Stoned in, absolutely, and Bolts, of course.
So we got to do this. We got to. Yep, you're sure in. All right. So come on, we got to get this Carbonites love out there. I don't care if you're someone that already has a couple of cases. This is just I want to get the word out there. Vincent has been very generous to me, and he's been very generous to me, and given me a fair few cases for what he says was great help with designing a cube, which I continue to tell him took me about 2 minutes to do. So I feel like we got to at least get some love out there. So
even if it was an easy file to create, you taught me a lot along the way, and it's about the principle of it all. It's very difficult for any small company to branch out and find people who appreciate their artwork, because that's what Carbonites are. Before they're a figurine, they are, artwork. And take Aaron right there. His company is called Fantiki, and I'll talk about them a little bit later. It is so difficult to start branching out, and it's really about extending it to the next person, because I'm pretty camera shy. I've talked about this off stream, that I didn't really want to do podcasts for a little while because, God gave us all gifts, and he gave you some wonderful gifts with your ability to speak to others, the way you're able to just talk about toys. And that's a gift that I don't know necessarily if I was given. It's something I'm working on. And it's really about passing that on to the next person. So I'm happy to be here. You've given me a nice platform to do that.
Heck yeah.
And here we are about to give Carbonites to a lucky winner. So
Heck
that's
yeah.
point in case.
I know there's a lot of people in here that probably already have Carbonites, and I'm A-okay with that. It would be super cool if it went to someone that has started a Carbonites collection. We got a first one's free someone. So someday we'll get there.
That's right.
But so anyway, I will come back to this in a couple more minutes, make sure that we have some final calls, if we will. But maybe we've talked about the convention set of Anakin and Obi-Wan. How about, I know that this really caught your eye. Every now and then you say something that I didn't know about you, and I didn't realize that you are a Black Series helmet collector.
Yes, this is true. I think, my God, the replica nature of it all. And there's people who will critique the interiors, and I don't care about the interior. These are what I find to be possibly the best bang for your buck that is not a Transformers figure. I will always say I think Transformers are like the epitome of the college kids toy, because it is the most bang for your buck. You get 2-in-1, and the engineering that goes into a Transformers figure blows my mind, and I can geek out about that longer than I could the articulation of an action figure. But another thing that I geek out about is, the bang for your buck. And when I look at that, I go, wow, I truly do not see a difference between those Anovos helmets or, there's Sam Oil VR, and he does the greatest Clone Trooper helmet I've ever seen. But I'll look at the shiny, Phase 1 clone helmet, and I go, but this is good enough. And it's not just good enough, it's freaking wicked. I would show anybody who doesn't know a lot about Star Wars that Scarif Stormtrooper helmet right there. there is that immediate shock value of how in universe it feels. But a lot of people don't really realize the small, minute, because they are, things that these Black Series helmets have that maybe could frustrate somebody who actively analyzes costuming or is in the 501st and wishes they did it differently. I will always say, I think if you give a artist the right tools, they can always create a better, more accurate version.
Mhm.
But the cost of these being like $110, and for a while they were up to like 130, and Hasbro is actually able to scale back and make them 99 to 109. I've never seen a better deal in terms of a Hasbro offering that isn't a Transformer. These are great. And the presence, oh my God, the presence of this next to that Death Trooper helmet, it's wicked. But where are you at with the Black Series helmets?
All right. I got a whole thing on the helmets real quick, but chat popped off. So,
Let's
Hunter, I put you on the wheel, so maybe I'll be making your next Carbonites order.
There we go.
Hyperspace Heroes. This would be Brown Leader using the main account. Do you want on the wheel? I'll put Brown Leader on the wheel.
Absolutely. Could you actually up it, and can you do all three? Can you do Brown Leader, Scruffy, and BB?
So I know Droid Bait's on there.
Good.
So yeah, let's throw Scruffy on there. Why not? I don't know if he's watching tonight.
Absolutely.
I hope he's having a good night, even if he's not quite right here. I put bolts on the helmet. I think everyone that's here talking is on it. Our runner wants to know, Vincent, what is your favorite helmet?
Definitely Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, for sure. Almost not even a didn't even have to think about it. That helmet is legit. You know, the battle damage was next level. And although I almost, I get a little teary-eyed when I do see the Captain Rex helmet. That one has some issues, but I just love that character. I think that's my favorite character that they've adapted into a helmet format. But the Boba Fett one is just, it's damn near perfect. But so is this Death Trooper. I was looking at that thing and I can't believe how wicked it looks.
So, Hal Runner, this one does come with the voice modulator. All right. So here's my thoughts on the helmets, because I think the sculpt and the deco they do on these helmets are beautiful. I am the smartest person around. I have great big head syndrome. So a lot of the helmets don't actually fit. I remember with excitement, I was always really hesitant about the helmets when they first got announced. The first helmet they did was Kylo Ren. Do you have the Kylo Ren one?
I sure do. That was the only one that I've paid resale for. That and the Inferno Trooper or the Incinerator Stormtrooper, and then re-released a month later, but that's okay.
It happens.
Yeah.
But I remember going to Toys R Us and they had a loose Kylo Ren helmet back in the day, and I was excited. I wanted it. And when I went to put it on my head, it fit like a baseball cap. So, and I know that that's, of all of them, that's the one that runs like the smallest.
It does.
But I remember ignoring that fear, buying the Stormtrooper helmet when it came out in 2016. Same story. I got it down to about my ears, and that was it. And I remember on that, I gutted it, took out all the electronics, and I cut out the inner liner, because the Stormtrooper helmets are like that thick all the way around it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why, if you gut the thing and you make it just that outer plastic, bezel, it definitely gets to be a good bit roomier. So,
well, the thing too, and I think Marvel Legends is the only one who does this, unless they did it with the Power Rangers line, but they do like a little elastic lining in between where the seam separation would be. And it does allow you to have a little bit of give. And even on like the Ant-Man helmet, they had like a hinge, and it kind of had like the ability to like hook it in a different way to bring it down. But with the Black Series, you're right. Like if somehow you don't, if it doesn't fit, like you're screwed. There really is no adjustable with these. Yeah, on the inside there is, but if we're talking like the width from the chin to the back of your neck, yeah. And that Kylo Ren one was incredibly tight. I mean, you put it on a shelf, and it's dwarfed by all the other buckets. I mean, it is so tailored to the face. So,
Yeah,
Not
the Kylo
surprising.
Ren helmet is one that some advertising of 20% bigger would be a benefit for. But real quick, we got Blitz
Yeah.
jumping in the chat, just trying to
Hey.
say hi. And to back the lat, you're up to 4 and might get 5 or 6. You know, it's funny. They have like 4,000 backers, and it's probably just like 17 unique houses because I see a lot of people talking about army building. But I hope you're doing good, and don't be a stranger. But yeah, we got to get back on the horse stream and had a good summer off. So
It's really good to see
appreciate
Blitz Transmissions. Thank you for stopping by. And earlier on, we were talking about you being Mr. Viral with the LAAT hat, and
Yeah.
what your dad, Commander Bly, is making is so dang cool. It's pretty awesome. And I hope if Hasbro does a recap of all the fan hype surrounding it, I feel like that that LAAT hat's going to make the sizzle reel for sure. You wear that thing very proudly, as you should. And I hope it
It
gets
is a
better.
cool hat.
It is.
So anyway, we got way off on big head territory here.
Yeah.
But
my bad.
no, I ran with it. But the clone trooper helmets fit me. Thankfully, I have to pop out that little ring in there, you know, for sizing it to fit. It just fits because it's tight. But you know, I'd be curious to see how this works out. You know, if the fitment is right. I do like a good shore trooper helmet. You know, one other thought that I've always had with these helmets, it really seems like they have to put some sort of a gimmick in there. And do they ever sell that on you? Like, are you getting them because you like the LEDs and the voice changer, or like,
Yeah.
you know, like, that wouldn't be a selling point to me. And to be honest with you, like the voice changers, like in the Stormtrooper helmet, where it just makes you sound garbled, I'd rather you just not include an electronic feature at all and knock $20 off the helmet.
I'm with you. I think one of the most jarring ones, and I'm sorry to do this to you, Delphi Rangers, and heck, even Hyperspace Heroes, but one of the most jarring ones for me was the Luke's X-Wing. And I'm actually not too sure if they did it on the other X-Wing pilots, but like it simulates the TIE fighters surround sound. And it also has your R2D2 beep bop boops, and you also have your X-Wing roars. It's pretty cool. But what was jarring to me were these little lights that line the visor, and it simulates off the visor almost like you're shooting from your X-Wing, little green bullets with a plasma blast. And it's cool, but same thing, I could do without it. The closest I've ever gotten to really rocking one of these proudly was playing EA's Star Wars Squadrons and putting on my Trapper Wolf helmets and playing that game through the lens of the TIE Fighter pilots. That whole game, or X-Wing pilots, that whole game's first person.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. But when it comes to the troopers, it just doesn't. I could do without the modulation, because let's agree, it's not the best. It's $100 helmet. It's not $100 modulator.
Insanely threw me on the Moff Gideon helmet. It's electronic because it has a singular red diode inside the helmet by like your temple or whatever.
Right.
And it's like cool, I guess. Like, so Commander Cook, how are you doing? Incredibly generous $10 super chat, my guy.
Wow.
That
Commander
is
Cook, thank you. I think that just funded the Carbonite case that Hybrid's going to be given away here. And hey, Commander Cook and Blitz Transmissions and Hybrid, they all dropped a review, and Poptography, who was also in here earlier, they all dropped a Carbonite Hunter review as well. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about those characters and what they looked like, definitely go check out their channels and look at their Carbonite Hunters review.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Commander Bly, girl, you look good. Won't you back that lad up? And then Commander Bly is doing my part. Don't ask what your Republic can do for you. Ask what you can do for your Republic.
I love a little good, Star Trek Troopers reference right there.
Yeah, back the lat. Always back the lat. So I'll say, because y'all weren't here earlier on, letdown is clickbait. I'm being 100%. So
it was. We were going the alliteration route. I think the letdown isn't necessarily from Hasbro's perspective. I think there's also just a genuine letdown that it's not already backed. There is kind of this, not a fear in the air, but it is kind of like, I think it's on everybody's mind right now. And that's a letdown, because we all want to celebrate the fact that it's backed and ready to go. taking some more notes on entries.
Yeah, I'm throwing the gang in here. We got Commander Cook, Hunter,
Cheesy napkin. Wow,
yeah,
that's
we'll get Cheesy on the wheel.
Let's get you on the wheel, Cheesy. It's great to see you.
Cheesy's on the wheel. So we got 212 Hunter rejoining the membership. Greatly appreciate that, my guy. And Stone Mando has been a member for 4 months. That is super cool. So appreciate everyone showing up. And we've been definitely at that 10-minute mark. So if there's anyone else that would like to be put on the wheel, let's start working our way over there.
I agree. Let's do it.
I'm gonna do the share screen, wheel of names. All right. So on my list, Hal Runner, Doug, Delphi Rangers, my mom, Dennis, Droid Bait, Stone Mando, Bolts, Nick, Addy. We got Aaron, Jen. We got Hunter. Oh, I put Hunter on twice. He's cool, but he ain't that cool. Brown Leader, Scruffy, Commander Cook, Commander Bly, and Cheesy Napkin are all the people in the list, in the chat. I feel Blitz popped in. Let's throw Blitz on there.
Oh, dude, absolutely. This is an all-star lineup here. And if anybody that we didn't write down, I guess now's your time.
So, Hal Runner, I'll back another LAAT if I win. All right.
Dude, let's put his name down 5 times.
Yeah. So, Stone Mando, good to see you streaming again. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Starstream. We got to get Starstream in. Absolutely.
Have to.
So, thank you, Stone Mando.
Oh, Skywalker Hendricks.
Skywalker Hendricks. How are you doing? We got to back the LAAT, of course.
Back the LAAT.
So, we'll get Hendricks on here. So, everyone's here. So, again, I mean, the LAAT is super cool. I just can't fit it in the collection room. This is a responsible choice. You know how many Rebels figures I had to buy for that Ghost? And I can't self-control an army building, so the LAAT not being in my house, it's a wise choice. Get the Hot Toys LAAT instead. Yeah, I'll just get a second mortgage, and
that's base though.
Yeah. So
they made the ATR.
Let's get that Hot Toys Anakin Interceptor out first. So
yeah, that would be the dream project for sure. For sure. And hey, good luck to everybody. This is quite exciting here.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have time for one more?
Yeah. Who we got?
R2 Drew 2?
Oh, R2 Drew 2's here. Yep. R2 Drew 2, I guess.
Oh yeah. So it's really great seeing everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by on this Wednesday night.
Yeah. All right. So everyone that's been in the chat since we've started talking about this, do we do it the long way and spin it down to 1, or just spin it once and whoever it lands on? What do you think, Vincent?
Let's see. It is currently 9:30 Eastern. I think you spin it once, but make sure you add Wilbon before you do.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
I think Wilbon is going to be the cutoff here. So we're going to spin it. We're going to spin it once. Whoever it lands on, just DM me. Go on the Carbonites site. Pick a case. DM me. Give me your address. I will order you a case of your choice. We got to share the Carbonites love.
And I'm going to put the website in chat so everybody knows where to go to pick out a case.
Heck yeah. So, all right. So we got 23 unique entries on the wheel. We are going to shuffle the crap out of them. All right. Are we ready?
We are ready. Good luck.
Let's see if we can get a classic Bolts.
Hey, all right.
Congratulations.
Oh, wait, you're eliminating. Wait, I'm sorry. You're doing elimination?
It was set up from the last one I ever did, which, deletes the name. But we're Bolts. It's Bolts.
Okay.
Landed on Bolts.
Congrats, Bolts. That is super cool. And I could be incorrect, but I don't think you have Carbonites. So that is so cool that it's going to end up in somebody's collection as a first-time case. I hope you love them.
Bolts, I think you're going to love them. There are so many varieties. You know, you can go pick some video game ones, a movie case, a TV show case. You know, Vincent has done a really good spread. So, Bolts, if you are on Instagram, hit me up under Hybrid Toy Reviews. If you are not on Instagram, I will just drop my email here, and you can email me there and get me your information there, and I will, whatever case you want, you know, think about it. It doesn't have to be tonight, it can be tomorrow, whatever, but just tell me what case you would like to get, and I will get that to you here very shortly. So super excited. This is something Vincent and I talked about. One of the first things when I said, you know, when I said that we were going to do this is, you know, let's give away a Carbonites, you know, let's start strong. So please don't do that.
You know, I have to talk about what Blitz just said.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was a Star Wars Topps card trader game?
Yeah.
Okay, it was very much in the iPod days, and this definitely scared me out of being a reseller for the rest of my life. There was
transmissions.
There we go. There was a Grand Moff Tarkin card that I got in the game, and it was at the time like a $70 digital card. And like the young whippersnapper I was, I put that B on eBay and sold it for around like $50. And I got an email. Again, I was probably like, I don't know, 13, 14. And I got an email saying, hey, I just won. And here is my email. Send me the account information so I can get the card. And that guy totally did not win the bid. It was just some random John. And I was like, oh, dude, that sucks. So never got to the right person.
I you know, we're talking about Topps, and I don't really know anyone, I guess, that like super collects. You know, I know some people maybe that get the autograph packs here and there. But oh, I don't even know if I should share this story or not. I don't know. I don't know. I was reached out to by a artist on Facebook a while back, and I don't know. It was like a month or so ago. But anyone in chat, you ever hear of ICCC, ICCC, the great Star Wars toy collectible convention in the world, basically?
Sounds shady.
They were doing an artist, the badge artist. They had some people send in examples for who was going to do the badges for this next year, and they were letting people vote. You know, like, do you want to vote for artist number A, number B, you know, whatever. And it was, they didn't tell you who it was, so you couldn't like vote for a friend or whatever. But I don't know. I liked one style more than anything else, and I so, you know, I voted, you know, hey, I want, you know, number whatever it was, and it pretty immediately got liked by someone, and then I got a friend request from that person. And I looked at their profile, and it said that they're an artist for Topps. And I was like, oh, hey, that's kind of neat. And I started thinking, like, man, this might be kind of neat. Maybe like have them on a stream or something. I started doing the YouTuber thing. You know, how could I talk to this guy? He makes Star Wars trading cards. And I kind of just immediately was like, hey, he's probably the artist that submitted the one that I voted for, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I sent him a message like, I'm going to guess your number, you know, whatever number, with like a laughing emoji, you know, because it's just like, well, I'm not supposed to know who you are, but you outed yourself, you know. And then he blew up on me, and he's like, you're laughing at my art like everyone else. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm laughing at your art? I thought it was cool. I just voted for it. And he got like mad at me because I guess some people have done like live like unboxings, I don't know, wherever people do like their card openings like on stream, and pulled his art cards and laughed at them for being terrible. And the guy was like super insecure about it, and I'm just like, quit yelling at me, I voted for you. like he like went out, and we settled. I was just like, I don't know, it's like my only Topps experience. I don't collect them at all, and I got yelled at by a Topps artist over text. And we've settled since. He's a cool guy, but I just like, and he didn't win the vote anyway, but I was just like, why are you yelling at me? Stop yelling at me. like he was like sending books. So I don't know if I should have even shared the story or not, but it's just where my mind went.
Well, that doesn't bode well for me to say. as somebody who's the spokesperson for Carbonites, but it's always nice when you can scratch something off the list and say, well, I already have enough things to collect. I don't need to collect tops. And now you have a good reason for it.
Right. Appreciate that, Blitz. Super cool.
That's wonderful.
ICCC for life. So
yeah, I think Hyperspace Heroes podcast, they stream down at ICCC. And I know a lot of people in chat have been there. I don't know if you guys have ever met the Hyperspace Heroes podcast, but they will do interviews and streams down there. I know they got to talk to Billy D. Williams and a great many people. And in the same way that you've interviewed Michael Havens, Hybrid, on Talking Toys with the Boys, I know that the Hyperspace Heroes podcast have also had Michael Havens on. And they keep saying that Carbonites need to represent down at ICCC. And not this year, but hopefully that's something I can do in the future. That would be cool.
I really think you should. I think in one of the group texts, I'm somewhat sure it was James that said that maybe you might do really good the first go around doing like a room sales thing.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to commit to a booth. You can just do it one night, and then it's really, instead of a thing at the convention, it's you directly talking to anyone that cares to come by. But
I just need to hire like an Ognaut to work the door. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. Everyone needs an Ognaut. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I think that we definitely gotta, you and I have talked a lot about plugging Carbonites, and I've got all sorts of ideas for, reels and stuff, and, Instagram shorts. And I definitely think a convention would be a great way to plug some Carbonites. So I think that's, I think that would be like a good choice. Maybe we get you to ICCC once just to let you experience it first, maybe one time just as a fan before a vendor. But
yeah, it would be really cool. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I was finished.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's
Cheesy ain't old enough to have a job and waste all his money, so here's 5 from both of us. Thank you, Blitz. I appreciate that. I think at this point, the chat has actually recuperated the cost of the case of Carbonites. That was really cool. I was actually talking to Vincent before we started, and I was like, I ain't streamed in like 4 or 5 months. Like, probably not going to have that many people here. And it's like one of the better numbers of people on a live stream yet. So that's really cool. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I know there's been, some awkward times with some people lately that we're just trying to get over and do better with. And just appreciate everyone in chat for being cool. And it's been good.
What's really cool about all of this, and it's a story I've told before, but I'll happily share it again. There's been a web of people that's gotten me here, but the way I've been able to meet everybody else. And it started with Hyperspace Heroes podcast. They had me on stream, and then we met Adelphi Rangers, and you might know him by some other screen names. And then James found out about me, or I guess I already said that, but Jake, in this case, Hybrid, found out. And it's just so cool, a trickle effect. And through Hybrid's video, I believe Blitz then found me, and so on and so forth. It's we've kind of established passing of the torch from Yoda to Count Dooku to Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan to Anakin to Ahsoka to Sabine, and so on and so forth. It's very cool.
My bad, I'm obligated here, but Commander Bly, $1.99 to kick Vincent from the stream. So, the classic Commander Bly, huzzah. So, but, bro full on left. No one could replace Vincent. Vincent is the heart and soul of the collecting lately. So, he thinks it worked. My face when he clicked out and it crashed or something. That would be about the way that it goes. GG. Oh man. And here I was about to just reveal a new Carbonite. So, hey, what's up?
Someone say Carbonites?
Right. Someone say Carbonites? So, I promised Vincent, hey, we're going to do like 2 hours. And I I know that we've historically said it's like a 2-hour stream, and it usually ends up being like 3 to 7. But I would like to keep my promise to Vincent here. So we got about 20 minutes left until we hit that 2-hour mark, and I think there's some insane stuff to talk about. So first, we got some people in the chat. Vincent mentioned that, like myself, we're given the Carbonite Hunters case. So while we talked about it a little bit in the very beginning, can we just get some public statement here? This went very well for you, right?
So I don't talk numbers. Hybrid knows.
Yeah,
this.
I don't want like prices, but I mean, but like we did good.
This was an experiment. Yeah, this was an experiment, and to people who have reviewed Carbonites, sometimes you'll notice that there was a extra case that was given in your order for free. And that's just a simple thank you from me to you, because I need things to listen to as I'm designing all these Carbonites. So it's so great. I was just listening to Stone Mando last night, talking to Star Wars Collective, who also reviewed a case of the Carbonite Hunters. And I was designing Carbonites while listening to them. Same goes with Hyperspace Heroes podcast or the Blitzcast that Blitz Transmission puts on. It's become natural to me. I stopped loading up Disney Plus and I started loading up YouTube instead. And I get all my Star Wars filled content while I'm designing Carbonites, and it's great. So I love to give people free cases if they're going to take the time and effort and energy and editing, time away from their families, to do a Carbonites review. It's awesome that somebody is that passionate about collectibles that they would want to do that. But this time around with the Carbonite Hunters, I had sent out 10 cases to 10 people in the community that I think put out exceptional work. And there's many people like Stoned Mando who I did not send a case. And I hope he doesn't take any personal offense for that, because he also puts out totally incredible work. And hopefully he will be considered in the future for a future free case for review. Something I will not do often, but this was an experiment to see how much can we push the word for this Labor Day weekend to have a whole Carbonite Hunters takeover. And it was very successful. And it's in the green. The costs that it took to make the Carbonites, to ship them out, it was success. And I definitely owe that to the 10 creators who went ahead and put a review together. So thank you to those. I don't have them written down, so this is off the dome, but those 10 creators were Hybrid Toy Reviews, Blitz Transmissions, Out of the Basement, Jedi Master 738, Sarlacc Digest, Star Wars Collective. Who else do we have? Lucanus Monster, Poptography.
You say Out of the Basement yet?
Oh boy. Commander Cook.
Yeah.
And that 10th one, I hope that person isn't watching, so this doesn't look too good right now. I gotta fix this. I have to remedy this. This is unbelievable.
It was bizarre. I because you and I had talked a little bit leading up to, and I wanted to make sure that my review went up the second that the Instagram post went up saying this is the case. And so it was Saturday at 9:00. I don't normally upload on Saturdays, but for Vincent, my boy, I'll do anything. So I got it up at 9, and throughout the day, on a Saturday, I'm home, I'm chilling, I'm wanting to just do some YouTube watching, and you open the YouTube app and I look at my subscribed tier to see who's uploading what today, and it was all Carbonites. I mean, there was insane Carbonites coverage. If you are a Black Series collector, the only content you were getting on Saturday was Carbonites, and it was insane. As someone that was part of it, just how thorough the coverage went. I remember you running the idea by me before, I was here first, but the idea was ran by me, like, do you think I should do something like this? I'm like, heck yeah, you should do something like this. Like, get people that have reviewed you before, that like the product, let's get the word out there. And I just I love how we've talked before. you know, I mean, Carbonites wasn't doing bad, but the more people that have gotten into it and reviewed it, you know, the numbers have gone up, which is the right trend. And
Right.
I'm just happy to be in anywhere, any way, a footnote in this. You know, it's like we're doing some cool stuff. You know, you're doing some cool stuff. I'm just happy to talk about it.
Well, what's great is we formed a friendship first and foremost,
Yeah.
but we also are able to talk about business ideas. That's something that you understand given how long you've had your channel for. And there's, you know, a big difference in trying to please everybody and then also trying to make a business decision that would, you know, maybe lead to something that could be bountiful. And by the way, I have to, got to time out. That 10th creator was General Kenobi's bunker. So
Okay.
all 10 of you, the takeover was a success. It was a whole weekend of Carbonite related things. And out of the people I reached out to, only one of them had said no, meaning that everybody else was just accepted it with open arms, which is so cool. About the biggest compliment that I could receive is when somebody treats Carbonites just like they would Black Series 3.75 Funko. You know, to the 10 people who reviewed Carbonites, you treated it like it was a real product. And that's super cool because that is ultimately what I'm trying to make these be. And the first step with that were these new cores. And I'm happy that of the people who got to check them out, which again, these were made by Hybrid Toy Reviews, that everybody seemed to like them. They agree that they're more stackable, that they don't kind of lean when you do stack them up. The cores themselves just feel a lot stronger in hand. And we can finally market them as stackable. You know, we talked about this with the gunship, how they're marketing it on 20% bigger. And I feel that maybe they should market it based off of its 2 scale. And again, whether it is or isn't. But with Carbonites, they are 200% more stackable, but that's burying the lead. The lead is that they're now stackable, which is kind of cool.
Heck yeah.
And the way that that message was really pushed this past weekend shows just the banding together of the community, just like you guys do for the LAAT with hashtag back the LAAT, and just how the community bands together, like in this chat, whether it be the people typing away, the new members, just the love across the board is felt, and it's unlike anything I've seen before.
Like you said, we're officially calling them stackable. So I've got my memes, I've got my jokes. So I you know, of course I threw that together the other day. My mom says Deerd is a real product. And I genuinely consider it is. You know, I know that it's unlicensed and art and stuff. You're not putting a Lucasfilm logo on the box, but that doesn't make it any less real. I have a dedicated spot for my Carbonites in the collection room now. You have me 3D printing special ways to display my Carbonites. Like, you know, I regularly say, I make a point to say in every video I do about Carbonites, yes, I'm friends with Vincent. It's not why I'm doing the review. It's not why I'm saying they're awesome. You know, if you know, when I made that first order back in like January, and I sent that DM, you know, hey, I made an order. If you're like, oh, neat, and then never talks to me again, and this friendship didn't happen, I'd still be picking up some Carbonites. You know, it might have incentivized it a little bit, but I'd still be picking them up because they're really cool, and I love that. Oh, what's the name of the set? The Clone Wars set with the Force Priestess, the Force Gods, Chosen One Prophecy. You know, that was where I started, and it I mean, it just impressed me immediately. And the bizarre thing is now I've got a couple cases that have the plastic cores, and I didn't think I would notice it as much as I do a little bit. You know, it's definitely an upgrade.
Would you say that the biggest thing you've noticed is the seam that used to be about halfway through when it was 2 wooden blocks together? You said you don't feel that seam anymore.
Yeah. I you know, it's kind of like oh, where'd Vincent go? Come back, Vincent. Come back. Don't leave me alone, buddy.
My bad. I'm listening. I'm just
Oh,
filling
you're
my
good.
water.
Oh, okay. I thought you just completely like crashed out.
No, I apologize, bro. Go ahead.
No, you good. You remember the end credit scene in Superman where he's pointing out that when Mr. Terrific fixed the cracks from the portals and the building just didn't perfectly line up, It's one of those things where until they pointed it out, you wouldn't have noticed. You were just like, oh, hey, the world got put back together, But then Vincent, Superman just had to say something,
I will never unsee that. Thank you.
Yeah, what do you want me to do? Take it apart and put it back together? And I never noticed, because you had said that you didn't want to advertise them as stackable because the pre-cut wooden blocks you were getting weren't always being cut perfectly at 90 degrees, on every corner and seam. And so therefore you didn't want to stack them because it would eventually start to lean, whereas the 3D printing gives you a perfect, precise cube every time. And I never noticed it. I was just like, they're blocks. Like, of course you can stack them. They're blocks. But here I am now, like putting these plastic ones next to, in my review, I showed off my original first, purchase, Han and Carbonite slab, and how you'd given me a plastic one as a thank you for doing the review on the set. And I didn't think they were going to look any different until I put them next to each other. And then I'm like, like that is different. And it's minute, but it's there. And I really think this is going to be a insane upgrade going forward. There's no way that this isn't going to work out for the best, my guy. I mean,
thank you. As much as I want to back this LAAT, the money that I'm saving from backing the LAAT will allow me to invest in more machinery. And I do want to find a way to cut out the Carbonites that's not using my own hands. I used to do a cricket, and the cricket used to cut out the Carbonites. And I'm going to get all crafty on you for a second.
Okay.
The cricket was nice.
Blacklisted for sharing the secrets of Carbonites. And here no. But,
he has a point.
Yeah.
But, the cricket was nice, but it would miss the edges by like millimeters. And when it comes to wrapping, they need to be so precise. And it's that classic saying of like, if you can't trust anybody else to put as much care into it, then you got to be the one to do it. And I do trust machines, but this one just wasn't doing it the way I needed it. It would always just leave a little bit of a border. So I'd have to just go in and recut it anyways. So I've been cutting everything by hand, and I would really like to try to do a laser cutter and try to get these bad boys popped out. So it's a less wait time for you guys. If you place an order, it doesn't feel as made to order, and it would just cut down on that wait time significantly. So I know as soon as this podcast's over, I'm going to go downstairs and cut out more Carbonite Hunters because those ship on Friday. Nice. So that's probably the biggest halt, I would say. And the reason it's so important to keep investing in new technology, if I'm filling orders, which is the goal, it's also then holding me up from designing new characters, which will spin this into the character preview I have for you today. And so it does allow me to get back to designing more characters. The more we find ways to speed up production, but not lose the quality aspect of it all.
All right. Commander Blythe says, talk slow so I can write this down. Starting a competing business and selling for $1 less tomorrow. So one of the downsides of not being able to copyright a Disney-owned IP, but crowdfund a lazy printer. Yeah, first you 3D print the cores, and then you laser cut the stickers. They're no longer. You lose that handmade touch,
right?
What are you gonna do next? Kidnap a bunch of sweatshop children to wrap the blocks for you?
Oh, dude, we wouldn't be doing that. We're overseeing production in our own personal freezing chamber. The only sweatshop action we got going on are the Ognaughts that we don't pay to make the Carbonites, and they got shit to say about it. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Rebel Basement. Hi all, finally created a channel to join in this Carbonite love fest. My guy, if you like Carbonites, you're here for a good time.
I don't know if anybody has seen Rebel Basement on Instagram, but I'm his collection's up there. It has to be one of the greatest I've ever seen. And he was the very first giveaway winner that I ever did with Carbonites. It was Scab Squadron. And
I
he had
did see
received
that. I
set.
saw his video there. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And so he's been riding with the journey for a while, and it's so great to see you. Thanks for joining.
So we got SWC Doodles here with Vincent. Do you have a bleed around your artwork when you trim them out? So.
I do not. That's a really good question, Doodles. I think I see what you're getting at. I
like
do
fuzziness
not.
in the print, like. So
right.
I know. I asked once just out of curiosity, just what are you using? And you were like, I will not share the product that I use for the sticker paper.
That's
so we're not going to go there. But do you think it's a material thing where like it's like whatever the label material is it just it's very absorbent of the ink and doesn't allow it to smear like it's a wicking kind of, it wicks the print, so there's no bleeding or like if you print on a glossy paper, it's ink on plastic.
I'm actually so sorry. This sounds so strange. I actually don't know if I'm following.
Well, I mean, I think, did she mean like when you print them, like does the ink like spread like when you put it on the label?
Oh, no.
Is how I interpreted her question, and if I misinterpreted, please correct me, Sandy.
I could be incorrect. I think she might be referring to the way with the Cricut and how the border and being able to cut around it. But Doodles is also a very big artist, so
she does great stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I did. She corrected. So
okay. Cool.
No, yeah, like extra border around it is what she meant. So you were right. I was wrong.
Oh no, it's
I'll just go cry about it.
Artist lingo right there.
So, but no, I really, I mean, I gotta say, I mean, just the quality lately has gotten nuts.
Thank you, man. Do you want to roll into that? What's that Carbonite?
Yeah, I think we gotta move on over there. So, y'all ever have a delirious late night idea of just something that's so dumb it's funny? So, we all remember the classic, who's that Pokemon? And this is funny because it could be anyone. So, this had me losing my marbles the night that I came up with it. But so let's do
who is that Carbonite?
Hope y'all heard that. I hope that worked.
Got a little battle droid action. I was very impressed how you were able to find a voice modulator to do that.
Worked out really quick, actually. All right. We got to plug it. A little tease. So. It's Pikachu!
It's Pikachu! Is there an ability to zoom in or no?
I believe so.
Okay. That's a pretty explosive graphic there. I love that you put this together. This is epic.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
So yeah, I'll just give a brief little sentence or two. This is a Carbonite that is coming next week. As always, he is just but one of the 6 that you will see come out, and we're gonna do about 3 weeks worth of flashback related cases. We are going very early in the timeline for about 3 weeks, and then I have an idea to jump forward in the timeline and do a squad based theme for the course of 3 weeks. So upcoming with this whole flashback theme we have going is this character you see right there. And he might not exactly look like this in a few days. I'm thinking about adding a bandolier kind of diagonal across his chest there, and possibly a few other details. But other than that, I will let Hybrid take it away with his first thoughts.
So I think we got Blitz recognizing, because we've talked about this case, and I think everyone's going to be excited. We just got him straight up asking what's in it, what's not, because we're definitely go ask Mr. Stevie for a pipeline while you're at it. But is it Revenge of the Sith accurate? Yeah, I mean, it does look like the on-screen Commander Cody. I mean, it's literally just Commander Cody. Didn't you already do it, Cody?
I can't say.
Doubling up. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just a Commander Cody Carbonite. So we got the very So this is cool because it's, I mean, like, as far as a not movie and show thing, it's definitely an unknown thing. It's not the most obscure. You've done more obscure Carbonites. But for those that haven't seen what it's from, they're not even gonna know. And I'm incredibly excited for this case. Some of the, I don't know everything, but some of the late night talks that we've had about it, I'm pretty amped on it. So 212 Hunter hates Commander Cody. So,
Oh, dude.
man,
Him and that wretched 212.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fun one. There's variations that you may see of this exact character. Perhaps not in this upcoming case. The big thing here is that I really want to some super old era stuff. Yes, you could say that.
Old.
Although this takes me back to when I was in middle school, I'd say when I was working on these, I don't know, it brought me back to my middle school days of sharing things around the lunch table about this really cool, super high paced cinematic that came out. And I was like, wow, this is pretty legit. So
real quick, just want to say goodbye to Starscream. Thank you for checking out. And I don't think we're going to run too much longer, but if you would like to catch anything that you miss, of course, catch the replay whenever. Thank you for checking us out.
Yes, thank you, Air Commander, for stopping by. Always appreciate the view in the comments. Much appreciated. That is another gentleman that's been following me for some time, so I love seeing that pop up. But yeah, so with this Carbonite, it's the big goal here is with the Carbonite hunters, there was not a lot of reuse. There's not a lot of templates being used. What was used for the Flying Green Knights, that was a completely new template. It was unlike the other Green Knights that I've made before, because attention to detail is something very big going forward. So what you're seeing here, that visor is reuse from another character from the ROTS-2005 category, but he does have some new targeting system binoculars that do go over top, and not a single thing in here was reused, and you will see that across the next 5 Carbonites that will accompany this guy in next week's case. So
nice.
Yes.
So
thanks for doing the
Mando also heading out. So good night,
later,
Stone.
Cody.
So Howl Runner knows what cinematic we're talking about. I think most people have a pretty good idea of where we're at. You can't say the word cinematic and not steer Star Wars fans in like one particular direction, but
you got a point. Yeah.
I'm incredibly excited. You think the Carbonite hunters did good? I think this set has some insane potential, especially. I'm not saying this in any bad way, so please don't spin this way. I know that sometimes artists get a criticism and blow up on you on Facebook Messenger when you vote for their art in an ICCC poll.
Never.
But, sometimes I spend a lot of time clicking through the Carbonite site, and art and the people making it evolve. And so sometimes you can tell when a case is a little bit older and when a case is a little bit newer, and they're all great. But I think of the Flying Green Knight in the Carbonite Hunter set, and I think of like, what would he look like if you did that set when Carbonites started a couple years ago? That might have been an ambitious first design,
Yeah.
And maybe you would have nailed it, but I can definitely tell that the more that you make, there seems to be more and more bangers every time. And so I think that this era that you're starting to get into with this next case is benefited by not being done immediately.
I think purpose has a lot to do with it. I look at, again, going back to Commander Bly, I don't mean to keep doing this, but the LAAT hat, I just appreciate that as an artist. It's the perfect product of timing, the just wildness of the very, mere idea of it. But also its application to helping promote what's going on. It does show a decent amount of listening to the fan base and trying to, drum up hype. And my inbox is, being pinged constantly with ideas for cases. So it's all about, listening to the fans, seeing what people want. And I hate that word fan, by the way.
Yeah,
And
it's
what I'm
weird.
talking about is fans of collectibles, not of mine.
Mm.
And so seeing what people, hey, I've never gotten into Carbonites, but I would really like to see this. Maybe this would be what would get me into it. And because of that, this new case, very highly requested. And I know it'll make a few people pretty geeked. So excited to get their reaction.
My mom says, always evolving with your art is how you can tell it's from the heart. And where do you get that from, Mom? A fortune cookie? But
that's very, very true.
Well,
my friend, do you want to jump into recent pickups before we get going as well?
I think that's where we wrap up. But Hendrix here says the design language is really starting to form.
I think that's very true. Rain,
there we go. Welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you in the chat, so if you've been here, it's our first hi. But just ordered the Hunter's case. That is insane.
That is
not from a fortune cookie, but from a Hallmark movie. Yeah, that sounds right.
Rain picked up one of my all-time favorite cases. I don't know if I have it on me. I do. Let's see. So now a lot of these actually aren't like filled up at all. It's just wherever you see a white spine, is how I know which ones I'm missing and what I need to refill in my stacks. Okay. But Rain picked up this case right here, and it's empty. It's just the box. And this is one of my all-time favorite cases. And Rain actually has this really cool poster where the Carbonites are in front representing the exact media that this comes from. And this is, honestly, this is just me, personally. I feel like this is one of the most underrated Carbonite cases because it kind of does what the Carbonite hunters also achieve. You got 6 people with little story, and then there might be a standout or 2, but they all, you can kind of create your own interesting backstories for them. Which is kind of fun, and just honestly characters I'd love to see again. Well, I guess some of them met their end, but maybe like something before they met.
Yeah, it's a shame Mayfeld didn't make it out of that Imperial base.
Love Mayfeld. He's great.
Shame he didn't make it out of the base.
He's a perfect example, I think, why people shouldn't be so concerned about the Starfighter casting. Mayfeld's a great character. Bill Burr's an interesting personality, and we got a great Star Wars character out of it, a kick-ass one. So really excited about that Starfighter casting.
Wilbon is saying that they talked about Carbonites this week on Monday Night Figure Ball. So
that's an honor. That's always super cool.
Can you timestamp it for Vincent? Otherwise, he's gonna have to click through like a 17-hour stream. But
no, I'd love to click through. Don't timestamp it. I'm gonna listen to it.
Oh man, he wants to watch it all. Oh man, there's gonna be some lore dump. There's gonna be some weird Zoo Boy noises.
Well, and Zoo Boy is one of those people who has reached out and has kind of nudged about, hey, maybe you can do these characters. In fact, one of the characters he mentioned in Rain had a match. So that character is actually going to be coming out very, very, very soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Rain right here. He thinks all the designs are amazing, especially the Deveronian. So, Mr. Krabs. So,
money.
Right. But, all right. Let's yap some pickups. Let's start winding down. We've broken over 2 hours, so I'm sorry. I'm a dirty liar. But I'll go first because I have a very minimal pickup.
Take it away.
So I am not always the best about getting cases of Carbonites right when they drop, but I do come back for them if I miss them. And so I very happily recently got the Cadet Squad case and the Ransack Battalion, which features a really cool Blitz transmissions shout out. And then, of course, we all love Heavy Echo and Fives, and how could I pass on their first forms in Carbonites? And so I'm very excited. And of course, 99, I mean, he really was one of us, but I do love 99. So I'm very excited to crack into these cases. I'm going to be honest, my original Carbonites reviews, I was really working good with doing 2 cases per video, and these 2 cases absolutely would go great together in a video. But I've started rambling a bit with them because I have a lot more to say the further it gets, and I don't know that I'm going to do 2 of them in one same video, but I think that it could potentially be a week that we get 2 Carbonites reviews because I can't leave too much of a gap between. So these are some really, really excellent cases and ones that I am glad to have come back to. So setting those aside,
We have a cameo, by the way, from a furry friend.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, you come here. I'm here.
The keeper of the Carbonites, the residential guardian.
Yeah, this is Ahsoka, the cat that you didn't know I had until the other day.
Yeah, dude, you have stickers of your black cat Ood, but there's no Ahsoka stickers that I'm aware of.
You see how she's kind of just like dumb and stuff? Like,
yeah, she's cute and stuff. Yeah,
she just doesn't do mascot stuff. She don't get me wrong. I mean, she's a perfectly tolerable pet. She does a great job of walking around the house and stuff. But Ood likes to talk in my videos and make appearances and stuff. So she hides when the camera comes out. So
yeah,
she see, I had to drag her on. See, she loves it here. She's happy. But yeah, so there's the Ahsoka shout out of the week. The video went up today, of course, but I gotta say I was incredibly impressed with the new Black Series Bear Sophie, and I think they did some great work. I've really been loving the prequel background Jedi love that we've been getting this year in the Black Series with Shakti, Luminara, and Dooley. The year before we got Ayla and Ki-Adi-Mundi, and then before that was Kit Fisto and Plo. There's a lot of reuse that goes into these figures, but it's really smart reuse. Like, she's got a soft goods skirt. You could put any legs under it. I don't care that they're the Aura Singh legs from 2020. It just is what it is.
Is her cape, is it like a velvet, by the way? I was trying to find out through your review that you did.
Oh,
it looks like velvet, but
it's a flat fabric.
Yeah.
But it's printed on. So it has a pattern to it, which kind of looks velvety.
It's not like flocked at all.
Yeah, no, it's complete flat fabric. Yeah.
Dude, that is so damn impressive then, because it totally comes across as such, like this deep, rich velvet. And the fact that it isn't, that is so dang cool. Wow.
Don't tempt me, woman. So I have, I just realized the other day I never made my Instagram post about it, but I finally gave Steel City Con another shot after all this talk about it being a very poorly ran event. Still have some issues with it, but they tempted me. They got John Bernthal.
Yes, sir.
And so I had to go and meet the Punisher, and he was super, super nice. And he worked with me. He did the "Yeah, I know" quote. For those that know Daredevil Born Again, I'm going to be getting to meet Charlie Cox in a few weeks down in Tampa. And I picked up the Daredevil, and I'm going to have him do the "You're an Asshole, Frank." And so it'll make a complete set to put next to each other on the shelf.
Love it.
Which I'm very excited for. And definitely got some good stuff there. And that really I got the autograph 2-3 weeks ago. I found the Daredevil Funko Pop over this last weekend. Barris came in the mail from Amazon. Yesterday. I worked really quick on that review. And that's it for my pickups. I've kind of been a little light lately. So,
dude, at W pickups, I mean, just the autographs alone.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm actually going to cut my camera off for a second. What my pickups are like just ever so slightly out of reach. So
hey, that's all good.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, Mom's right. She does play fetch to an overwhelming degree. But Aaron, you're right. They are some really cool cases. You'll tempt me with Clone Wars and Rebels all day long. And whenever the day comes that Vincent wisens up and does some Bad Batch, Bad Batch will pretty much be some day one pickups too.
I heard that.
I know you're here. So, but I wasn't trying to not be subtle. But no, those were some really good cases. I do like how they turned out. They look really good. Before I do my review, I always got to just open the box and just look at them, appreciate them, And I'm very excited. So, Rebel Basement, you got your Barris in the mail today, and you can't wait to open her. I think you're gonna love it. There are people out there that think that every single figure needs to be a head to toe unique sculpt, and that's not me. For someone like Barris, like I said, that soft goods skirt, I kind of don't care what legs are under it. They have good articulation to them, and I think that she is great. I'm super happy to have Barris in the collection, and we Black Series collectors in the chat, sound off. Every year it gets a little bit harder to do that top 10 list, right? Like you want to do that top 10 best figures of the year video at the end of the year. And it's hard. It is a hard video. Blitz has Barris in the pile of loot and you keep forgetting to ship it. Well, you just reminded yourself, my guy. Doug going, yo, how you doing, Doug? All right. Your time to shine.
All right. I think you switched back to your beautiful face there. I could be wrong.
I have you big now on my end, at least.
Oh, you're okay. Cool. On my end, I am tiny. Still getting used to the HUD of it all, the heads-up display, if you will. You know what? Actually, could somebody in chat verify? The only reason I say that is this next thing, I really want it to be seen big because I have a very big shout out that I want to give.
Yeah. Everyone, Vincent's big, right? But Blitz, Vincent is big. So.
I love that. Okay.
Barris is good, and Tommy only does a top 3 and doesn't know where to start. My guy, it's going to be a hard. Like, I could probably pick 10, but ordering the 10 is going to be hard.
Okay. Well, hey, I thank you for everybody verifying. Hybrid, I don't know if you want to pull up a chat from Aaron, if he's still here, if you're able to scroll. This is a gentleman that I've come to know recently. And there we go. Aaron C. Show. That's here on YouTube. And he does wonderful animations. So he can go under that name. The name that I know him by is simply called Fantiki, and brilliantly named, if I do say so myself. This is what I mean when I say kind of passing the torch. There were people there for me who propped me up and said, check out Carbonites. It's something really cool. And I would really like to do the same for Fantiki. They can be found on Instagram, and those awesome animations that I mentioned are in tenfold on Instagram. In no time at all, this guy's going to pass me up in terms of marketing. The Instagram name is fantiki.store. I'm going to put all this in the comment section in a minute. And then on Etsy, I'll also plug this. It's Toons, Toons, by Aaron, all one word. And what's up with all the setup? Well, Aaron came to me a little while ago and he goes, hey, I have an idea. And this idea was, he liked Carbonites. He thought they were great, but he saw room for his own company to take form and to start doing more video game intensive themed Carbonites. And by video game intensive, I mean that they are very much inspired by Nintendo. So I'm actually getting some out the package right now, and I'll finally stop yapping and show them to you. I would like to introduce everybody to Fantikis. Fantikis are cylinder. There we go. They're cylinders, and they are made from wood. And I gotta say, this is wood that is way better than what I was previously using with Carbonites. On top of that, Aaron uses this decal. This decal is legit. It's also way better than the decals you see with Carbonites. I'm just keeping it a buck. This isn't glazing. This is earned. You know, there's two ways in life you can look at this sort of thing. You can look at it and be like, I'm a fan of toys. I think these make for great toys. Or I can look at it and I could say, you know, is this something that I think is also better in ways than what I've created? And I would also say yes. So similar to Carbonites with the cylinder style, they can easily stack on top of each other. And again, just because it's wood, the dowel rods that this gentleman uses to make these, they're so much sturdier and they're far more level than the wooden Carbonites. Another great thing is on the bottom, you can see the name, and I hope that picks up on camera, which is pretty cool. And the other cool thing about Fantiki is just this whole idea that you get 2 in a case, which leads to some really good possibilities. You know, we were talking about doing a Samus inspired case because, of course, these aren't licensed. You know, these are Aaron's own original artworks. And he's like, yeah, I can do a Samus themed case for sure. And what you have is like Zero Suit Samus next to, you know, the Samus in the armor. And I did order that one. I think it just came out like within the past week. And as a Samus main in Smash Bros, I had to get that. So this is also what the packaging looks like on the outside. And I have open mine, so it's not as pristine as you would normally get. But it has this really cool sticker on the side here. You just peel this, and then it becomes a poly bag. And you can reach in there and grab your Fantikis, but it also serves as like a protective window. And you can easily sit this on the shelf just as is, and then they're already protected, and you can see them, which is so cool. And the last thing I want to say about Fantikis before we transition is, you know, something that means a lot to me, something that he wrote in the top corner, and it won't pick up on camera, but it does read, inspired by Carbonites. And the guy even went as far as to put my website on there. So what I found in Aaron, in this case, the company Fantiki, is somebody who's very transparent about his designs, but also somebody who I perhaps have inspired, which is so cool, and somebody who is making something that, given its property, it doesn't really rival Carbonites. They just pair great next to Carbonites. They're fantastic. And if you're into Nintendo whatsoever, you got to check out Fantiki. They are $9.99, super affordable, and it's going to a great guy. So I will type in chat where you can find him. What do you think about Fantiki Hybrid?
These are really cool. While you were showing them off, I was looking at the Instagram, and I've got the Etsy pulled up now. These are really cool. Yeah, you know, I think you know, a round is the new square. Everyone can just toss out the Carbonites.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Right. No, but I mean, like, for real, like the decals on these look amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some insane stuff going on here. I'm not a giant Nintendo guy. I'm a little bit more of a casual. I do like me some Super Mario Brothers, some Mario Kart, and I could definitely see myself grabbing some of these. There's Luigi's Mansion ones. I had that GameCube game as a kid. That was a time.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, his array of characters, the guy started within the past month. I mean, to be pumping out characters that quickly, and their pairings that makes like just a lot of sense together, and not to mention, similar to me, I'm sure if you were to reach out to Aaron with some potential ideas, I'm willing to bet that he would at least entertain them at the very least. So my 2 mains in Smash Bros is Samus and Meta Knight. So I know that if there's a Meta Knight, I would be all over it. And yeah, just something really cool. And especially if, you know, he takes the Bowser and starts doing the different skins that Bowser had, you know, in Smash Bros, or just doing the different Bowsers from the different games, putting a 8-bit or 16-bit skin over top some of them, you know, for a filter. The possibilities are endless, and it's just so cool to see something like this sprouting, especially when there was some initial Carbonites inspiration there. It's so cool.
Heck yeah. Rain, I'm going to try and post a link to the Etsy right here. I don't know if it's going to work, if it's going to come up as a hyperlink on YouTube, because I'm not even on YouTube. I'm on Stream.
It worked. I just tried it.
You can just straight click it. Okay. So that'll get you to the Etsy, where everything that's available for sale is. And then here is the link to the Instagram.
And Hybrid, thank you for doing that. You know, this is something I would love to see take off. I really believe in the product itself, and I think Aaron's just a tremendous gentleman. And we both know that it's rare to find people who seem very well intentioned, and somebody who's putting their best foot forward and just very professional while also being able to form that friendship. So
heck yeah.
Shout out to Fantiki, and then also shout out to Star Wars Collective, who we mentioned before. He's a Star Wars YouTuber who does figure customization, and he made this epic Night Trooper Cassian Andor custom.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm going to get out of this shot so you can just see him in all of his glory. He did like the best Cassian Andor likeness head that he could have chosen, which is awesome. Took a Night Trooper body and just, it almost looks like he's wearing like a crop top, because this rose gold part in the middle is almost like Cassian's skin tone. It's so wicked. And I just love Star Wars characters in disguise. And it's not a black that he used with this Rit dye. It's like a mocha brown, but also has a copper tone to it. And the guy went the extra mile to include the helmet, which with a little bit of force, dude, the helmet goes on too. And he painted that.
Oh, man.
Whoops, I'm so off camera. How dope is that? So
that's wicked cool.
So cool. So we were doing a giveaway here, and that was a giveaway from Star Wars Collective. So please check him out. He is a wonderful guy who, again, also did a Carbonite Hunters review. So shout out to Jacob from Star Wars Collective. Thank you so much for that awesome figure. It'll absolutely be in the Carbonite office for probably forever, if I'm being honest with you.
Nice.
A few other shout outs to do. I do got to take a sip of water, though. It's that time of night.
Water? So, you mean you're not drinking the Darth Vader Coke Zero?
Oh, shit.
Finally pulled a Vader case.
That's so cool. I was just watching my friend, Seriously Star Wars, Christopher. He just found the Anakin Coca-Cola case, and it's so cool.
Yeah, that one wasn't hard. I found that one pretty early on, but yeah, I did you see there was a post on Instagram, just that Star Wars girl Elise? She actually went and got the whole set. Like, she found all the bottles, and it's actually a pretty impressive looking collection. I'm not committing to that, but if I find something that I don't currently have, I'll pick it up. So
I mean, I'm the biggest sucker here, because I remember last summer with those dope Marvel cans. I'm like, well, thank goodness I don't collect a lot of Marvel stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then a year later, Coca-Cola heard me say that, and they're like, well, we're going to do Star Wars. We're going to get them now. And I feel like it's gotten all of us. And what I really love, too, is people have reached out to me saying, hey, are you looking for this character? I have a whole case, and I'm willing to part with to see who needs what. And that's just a really cool feeling as well. So Lord knows, if there was a Cad Bane, I would be all over it. I think the only one that's remotely tempting is Grievous. And I have a few others, but yeah, it's a cool thing. But speaking of Coca-Cola.
Oh, sorry. It made me big when I clicked on a comment, but Wilbon's keeping the Boba Fett bottle. I don't know that I want to keep the bottles, because, you know, after they like decarbonize, like they like vacuum and they get like flat spots on them. Like, I might, but real quick, we got Garrett here. Garrett, how are you doing? You know Garrett.
I know Garrett, dude. It's great to see you.
Hope you're doing good tonight, Garrett. We're getting near the end, but I'm glad that you're here. So hope you're having a great night, my guy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of all this Coca-Cola, Garrett was here the day that I actually got this from our good friends at Delphi Rangers. Adelphi took the family to Galaxy's Edge. I believe it was to celebrate his birthday. I won't say his age on camera, but it was one of those milestone birthdays. And about the coolest way you can celebrate is go to Galaxy's Edge, talk to the bartender at Olga's Cantina, and get yourself a whole set of Cantina coasters to give to your friends. So you did not have to do that, my good sir, but thank you for doing that. That was incredibly kind.
Bro's holding the holy hand grenade.
Hang on a second. Thankfully, it's empty. There's nothing in here, which is dope.
I did.
These things are scary. They look like an actual BOMB, if you will.
Right. I did with mine. Because he brought them back empty, which is probably for the best. But I poured in like a good squirt of like just some cheap craft paint, just black.
Mhm.
And I rolled it until the entire inside of the bottle was black. So now it looks like it's full,
Yeah.
But it's a good shelf piece. It's out in the living room right now. But
there we go. That is cool.
Those are really cool. Thank you very much, James, for bringing those along.
Yeah, and the thing about the thermal detonator, it has these little, I can't believe I'm calling it a thermal detonator when it's Coke, but we know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It has these little rivets in there, and you could easily thread a paper clip up and through them and make this a bulb for an ornament. It's so dope.
Oh yeah.
There's so much applications for them, even from a cosplay perspective. Coca-Cola just went all out, and that was pretty cool. So a few other things that I picked up. If anybody has been following me for a little while, you know that the biggest thing that inspires Carbonites is Galactic Heroes. And I remember...
Skywalker Hendricks in the chat?
Hey, Skywalker Hendricks. I remember when this case came out. I lived in Cincinnati at the time. Shout out to the Milford Target down there. And I remember, dude, I did not know what episode of Clone Wars was airing that night. I had no clue. And it was the episode Grievous's Lair with Kit Fisto and Grievous. And such a wicked, cool episode. Every Halloween, I got to throw that joint on. And that case was in store the day that episode aired. And I go home, I whip out the Galactic Heroes. I call them Star Wars Little Guys. So Carbonites' original name was Little Guys for the longest time. And then I Carbonites instead. Hey, Skywalker Hendricks, Galactic Heroes, you've spawned. Yes. So Skywalker Hendricks, what do you rate this case on a scale of 1 to 10? The only time we got a 4-arm Grievous, pretty gnarly.
Insane.
Yeah, so then there was how cool that you get the action figures the day that episode drops. The episode drops and they're already in your hand. It's just, I love figures that are timed around the release of a project.
It doesn't happen anymore. I saw today Mr. Stevie was posting pictures. They're finally doing a kids line of figures for Fantastic Four. And I'm like, the movie's going to be on Blu-ray in a couple of weeks. Like you missed it,
Yeah.
Hendrick says that one's an easy 11 out of 10. But
it is.
Clone Wars was an insane time, dude. You would get an episode that would have this random Glup Shido character appear, and he would just be in one episode of the Clone Wars. And a month later, he was hanging on the peg at Walmart. I mean, Hasbro was on their game. It was great. Hendricks says Galactic Heroes are the best toys ever made. I'm telling Sideshow. So
I gotta give it to Transformers, but then I would absolutely give it to Galactic Heroes because I'm very biased. No, I think Transformers are really cool. I could go into that another time. I see it's getting late, but Galactic Heroes, at least to me, has my whole heart. And another reason I love Fantiki, you do get 2 in a package, and if that doesn't remind me of Galactic Heroes, I don't know what does. So I am a freak for stylized collectibles, whether it be Chibi, whether it be Funko Pop, whether it be Fantiki, Carbonites, you name it. And you can definitely see that identity throughout kind of what I've collected. But to wrap it up, I got 3 other things. Speaking of Clone Wars, the original Cad Bane. Shout out to my brother. This was a birthday gift, and he knows how happy this made me. So that was very kind. I have quite the Cad Bane collection, but that was one I do not own. So shout out to you, because I know you're watching. And he also got me this wicked Black Manta McFarlane figure. Now, I like Black Manta. He's pretty cool. I like DC. If we're talking DC EU, Black Manta to me was easily, I'm all over the place. He was easily one of the coolest villains that got adapted into live action. Very comic booky, very such a stark intensity that Yahya Abdul-Mateen brought to that film. And the figure's wicked. He's my go-to in Injustice 2. He's my main. And then lastly, gotta show Transformers some love. So Dark of the Moon, Studio Series Shockwave. after all this time, I still don't understand what the guy transforms into. It's a slop tank, but the robot mode that they drew up for him for that third Michael Bay film was sick. And I know Stuck in Carbonite, I know he's a big fan of that design too. I think he had like a ranking the Bayverse designs, and I think that was like a top 3. So love the dark purple wash, love the translation from G1 into this show. And I love myself just a hulking shockwave, like from animated or Prime.
You know, I have said before, you know, like them or hate them with the Michael Bay movies, you know, as a kid, I was like 9 when the first one came out, and Transformers hadn't really had a cartoon that I knew of, you know, like, I mean, there was of course your G1 cartoon, but they, you know, if there was a show airing at that time, I wasn't aware of it. So Transformers was kind of like a new thing to me. And, you know, the Michael Bay movies were my first exposure. And while I haven't gone back to totally absorb basically any of the lore, my love of Transformers still is very Bay focused. You know, those movies did a good job of getting a generation of kids interested in cars that turn into robots. And they definitely have their place. Same as where I feel about like the reboot Star Trek movies that came out about the same time. It was a dead franchise, and then they made a couple good movies.
It's I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record. It certainly is a quote, but it's the character's name I think was Bobby Bolivia in the first Transformers movie. I think was it Ernie Mac who played him, the late great? And he's like, it's the mystical bond between man and machine. And I don't think I've ever not thought about that when I look at Transformers. It's a special franchise because it is one that I grew up with my brother. We loved that 2005 Transformers Cybertron show. You know, the Cyber Planet Key Power and all these like over the top anime style Transformer fights. But it wasn't until the Michael Bay movies I really started paying attention to the vehicle forms. And people will say that, you know, it's Michael Bay slop, the way that all of the way they're just digi-bashed and they transform out of thin air. But then you get these movies like Bumblebee and the movies that would progress where you can really begin to make sense out of how they transform. And when you look at the toys, and if you've been with the toys since that first Transformers Michael Bay film, you realize that, like, yes, in the films, it's way too hard to compute how they're actually transforming, but they did it in a rudimentary way for the toys. So there was just such intent put behind that. And I can't wrap my brain around the design team for Transformers, whether it be Takara or Hasbro. It's just, I think as somebody who now makes toys, or collectibles, I should say, Transformers has gained my respect unlike anything else, because at the end of the day, Carbonites are so simple. Transformers are incredibly complex. And for all that complexity, for some of them being the price of a Black Series figure, and you get 2 toys in one, I just can't help but sit there and be bewildered by the ingenuity.
I had, of course, I never knew lore or nothing. You know, there was a couple of Transformers that made their way into my toy box growing up, just Christmas gifts and all that. And the one I remember the most was it was like an orange truck. It was kind of wide and flat. It had a big crane arm on top of it, and then you push a button and it would spring out into an even longer gun. And when you turned him into robot mode, you know, the gun was like on his shoulder, like a War Machine gun. And of course, I don't know the lore. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but I just remember it was just like the coolest thing, you know. But I mean, so I do have some very passive Transformers, you know, love. Hybrid, how often do you collect Transformers? Not very often, Blitz. That's an old joke I'm gonna have to fill you in on.
Maybe you will.
That's some old lore from a long forgotten podcast era.
I am stepping into a very, you know, richly fleshed out community. You know, you guys have all known each other for so long, and I think the first like lore story that I heard and I forget who told me, was the Unquint Skibbity ICCC. Shout out Commander Bly. And when I heard that story, I was just like, okay, it's not just you're stepping into a friend group, you're stepping into the story of people's collecting lives, where collecting isn't just showing something at the camera and saying how great it is. It's the stories surrounding the collectibles. And ultimately, that's why I still love Funko Pop after all this time, because there was always a story of going to Hot Topic, a store I never, stepped foot in, but brave Vincent ventured into Hot Topic just to get that Ahsoka from Rebels exclusive pop. There are these stories of the adventure, the hunts, but also of a place I might never visit again. I'm grown. I don't really have much reason to go to a mall like I used to.
Yeah.
When I look at these, I remember the stories around them.
Hey, those trips to the mall to get Hot Topic exclusive Funkos have given me a lifelong love and appreciation of goth girls. So let's not knock it.
Amen, brother. Yeah.
So, but
no, everybody's
goth girls with
super
that
awesome.
little piercing up by the eyebrow, just the Hot Topic special,
Yeah, it was never the people in Hot Topic, and I'm not saying it to sound like trying to correct something I said. It was always just the lighting. I think it was the t-shirt tables that were taller than I were. Dude, the shelves in there, you could like easily duck behind them. I'd play laser tag in that joint any day of the week. It was and the music wasn't something I was typically familiar with, unless it was like, music from like a movie, like,
Yeah, the aesthetic of a Hot Topic isn't for Midwestern white boys that like wearing blue jeans and t-shirts. It's just but we go in there, we buy our Star Wars toys that somehow found themselves in the wrong store, and we leave. But
yeah, I think so. It was one of those spots that I always went in with a mission in mind, and I don't know, like the regimen of like get in and get out, like this thing that like my dad very much has that same mentality. We go to Home Depot, he's like, I'm here for this, and we are leaving, And that was always me when it comes to Hot Topic. I liked box lunch. Oh my gosh, I just felt more like, I just thought it was more welcoming. I just wasn't intimidated in the way that like I'd feel at certain other stores, where FYE was always cool, but we've talked about how overpriced they make certain collectibles. So Funko Pops, man, and those exclusives, that was just a really cool memory of going to these unlikely places because you need it for the collection.
So if that was the end of your pickups, I gotta say I'm out of topics, which is weird because you think I'd been bottling them up for a few months, but
no, I'm at the same point. I could keep rambling, but it's best on a Wednesday night that we don't. So this was pretty cool, I gotta say.
This little guy's bedtime. I told you you'd settle in. So I'm appreciative of you giving it a shot. So Vincent gets a little camera shy sometimes. So we had to this was like a 2-month discussion. So everyone give Vincent 3 big booms for getting in front of the camera. Boom, boom,
boom.
This is
so we're bringing that back, huh?
Yep. But and Delphi, yeah, I am wearing my pilot shirt. So
super cool.
But everyone, thank you for hanging out and being so cool in the chat and the super chats and the new memberships and just showing up. I haven't streamed in a minute. I've been back on the grind with the videos, the streaming. I was just waiting to feel comfortable with it, and I definitely feel that the reception here has been very kind, and I appreciate that greatly. Talking toys with the boys, as long as possible. I'd like to bring it back, hopefully, to its once a month greatness. So that's gonna be a really, really good time. So I look forward to that. Why am I totally blanking? Who are we watching tomorrow, Vincent?
Hyperspace Heroes.
Hyperspace Heroes.
We're 8 p.m. Eastern. Our friends over in Michigan. And there's 3 gentlemen, Droid Bait, Scruffy, and Brown Leader, as we call him. And just a really fun podcast. They talk about a little bit of everything. They typically have a guest on. And same thing, they do the recent pickups towards the end. It's a really good group of folks, and you will definitely see some of us over in that live chat as well. They'd love to see some additional names, and they're very deserving. So
it's
might
a
be
fun,
worth your time.
fun chat. It's a fun chat. It's a great time. It's kind of like talking toys. It's a limited audience, but everyone's having a fun time talking there. So tomorrow night, if anyone has any interest, go ahead and hop over to Hyperspace Heroes. That's where you'll find us. Insane generosity from 212th Hunter and Blitz Transmissions at the very end. I appreciate you both. Blitz, you're aware. Hyperspace Heroes are awesome. So, yeah, you met them at ICCC. Yep, I haven't met them yet. We've talked a bit, but hopeful ICCC might be in the cards next year. So I hope to meet them. And actually, I might potentially run into them at Motor City Con this November. That convention is looking tempting. So,
and hey, while we're talking cons, sorry to interject.
Yeah.
This was actually a comment in the live chat a long time ago. It was from Hyperspace Heroes. They mentioned that there's a gentleman who is putting together a really good con. It's called Excalibur Con, and it is in Duluth, Minnesota, I believe. They were very generous to invite me to come and maybe present Carbonites, and that's something that I'm thinking over. But to anybody else who may be in the area, check it out. Excalibur Con, Duluth, Minnesota. If you're a con junkie, might be worth your time. It's a growing con, but what looks to be a great one.
Yeah, I see there's we may have missed it. It looks like it was August 16th and 17th. So it might be, Duluth. So it looks like they had a pretty good turnout. They've got some really nice looking Facebook posts here. So it'll be a next year thing at this point. But yeah, Duluth, it's not the worst drive.
No, it's not. And the gentleman who's putting it together seems like a real cool guy. Check it
out. I like when you find a good convention. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like my Fan Expo and my GalaxyCon and stuff. Those are ones you go and you get your scribbles at, and maybe you find something cool on the vendor floor, but the odds aren't super high. I love it when you go to a convention like ICCC and it's someone like Michael Havens who's just making the show that he wants to go to. Some of these little small scale cons are the best. So Excalibur Con, let's put that on my radar. We'll see what comes of it next year. I'm going to follow him on Facebook right now.
There we go. Good.
Dang, my mom is making sure that I'm eating lunch this week. Thank you, Mom. So, but all right.
That giveaway case paid for itself maybe 3 times over.
Yeah, we're going to have to give away more cases. So
I think so.
All right. Insane return. Thank you all. It's been a great night. Next month, more talking toys with the boys. Vincent, hopefully, will be back. We'll try and find a third person. More boys equals more talking equals more streams. So it's a common math. Let's do it. So hope everyone has a great night. May the force be with each and every one of you. And we'll see you next time. See you.
Later.